Third time is hopefully the charm. We are back. Yes, I believe we are for the third day of the VESL 15K regional qualifiers for Valorant. So it's going to be four more best of ones today as we finish out the groups. We'll be getting to the playoffs tomorrow and Friday as well. So things are getting awfully heated. We've seen some fun matches in the past 2 days. Perhaps the first one still a highlight, but the second day had some particular highlights, such as a 3v5 that actually went pretty well. We had some pop offs, we had some rematches, real testament to momentum. And apparently, we also now today have Groovy Pants Captain Atoka, who's just grooving on over there. I'll be back with him casting, but we also have a guest today for our first match, first and a half, or however much it works out, which we'll get into in a little bit. But first of all, how you doing, Captain Atoka?
I'm doing just well. And you know what? The reason this is actually a very funny thing. The reason why we kept going to the BRB screen is because the tunes were just so groovy. You know what I mean? It was like a straight bop. The intermission music is a legitimate bop. So we had to just keep going back to listen to those groovy tunes. That's why I'm breaking it down on stream right now because it's stuck in my head. It's just so groovy. And so we wanted to make sure that everyone got to experience those intermission tracks. But in all seriousness though, coming back to VESL for some more Valorant. And you know what? I can't be more excited because I was promised by our producers that we were going to get some variety in map selection today. And I hope that they're not lying because yesterday we got a sent not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times in a row, back to back to back
Yeah.
to back. We need more. We need some spice. We need some variety in our lives.
And including the first day, I think that was 6 times in a row. Lotus interrupted for a brief hot second in our second match of the start of this week. Really was a hot second. But then it was back to good old standards. So I do hope we see something different today. I don't know if a producer was promising us or just also being optimistic, but we will find out when we get into the 4 matches that we're getting into today, which are going to be West Charlotte versus Audric LB, North Mech B versus Palisades A, North Mech once again versus Providence High, and Green Hope A versus Western Guildford. So we did see some North Mech yesterday, was it? I believe it was. They were the ones
They
who were playing against the 3. So they
West
had
Mech.
a decent time.
Yeah, pretty sure. Wasn't that West Mech? It was West versus North Mech, the Battle of the Mechs. And
Exactly, yeah.
and then West Mech, unfortunately, they could only come through with the 3 stack, which is a sad phase. But still, North Mech took the dub. But now, guess what? They're gonna have to really put on a show as their opponents today. I don't think are gonna have a 3 stack. I think they're gonna come fully kitted, 5 agents ready to go. So now we can really see what North Mech is made of.
Yeah, yeah, we didn't really get to see a lot of it because even though, I mean, I guess you could try and put a lot of stock and analysis into the fact that they let 2 rounds go. They didn't just completely stomp against 3 players. I prefer to look at it as a testament to the 3 players that were available for West Mech and how much they were really giving it an honest go and a couple of pop-off moments from Arena as well. So that's what I would prefer to see as. But we are going to get, further testing from North Mech because they are playing double headers today as well, which yesterday we really saw that work out in favor of one particular team. Who was it? Scrolling forward here. Was it Reedsville? I think it was. Reedsville had a double header and they were able
Mm-hmm.
to kind of start bringing it back in their first series, their first best of one, but it didn't really, the runway was still going, they didn't actually get to lift off. But then they come in the second best of one and they just obliterated their opponents. They fixed up some composition, as you were talking about, maybe picking some more of the comfort picks opposed to the new agent like ISO, and Retail looked really good. So either that and whatever, the fact that they were able to play double headers actually seemed to work out well for them. So we'll see if that's the case for North Mech here today.
Yeah, and honestly, we did get to see them really turn it around. Again, their first matchup wasn't looking too hot, and again, we even went into some, well, not into some, a little bit of analysis. We did a little bit of our job there when we were talking about how, in their first matchup, it seemed as though, they were trying to be a little bit ambitious with their composition, and then in the second go round, it did seem as though like they went back into their comfort picks. We got to see the Phoenix come out, which was the top frag, and then also we got to see the Jet switch to Arena, which honestly isn't like too bizarre given that they're two both meta duelists, but at the same time, you could tell that individual player looked a little bit more at home on the Reyna than they did the Jet.
Yeah, I would say so. And while the ISO was, I think, played fairly well for such a new agent, new to the player, new to the team, new to the meta, and all that, I thought there were some really good moments. It did seem like Phoenix was just the comfortable place for that player to be. We're not going to be seeing that particular team here today on the A stream, but there is also a B stream, guys. And once again, just so many games happening all over the place. So we are seeing some familiar faces on the A stream, but then also I think we might be seeing some more familiar faces on that B stream if you guys want to go check it out. And 4 other best of ones happening simultaneously. So 6 at any time has been the case here. I can only imagine how great a time the tournament organizers have been having with that. But yeah, that's going to be it today. 4 more best of ones. And then I guess we're going to finish out the groups entirely. So
And then you know what
yeah,
that
the desk will be
means.
talking about that.
Mm. Yes, and then we're going to be moving on to the nitty gritty, onto the goods, into the postseason, which I like to call the postseason. Granted, it's been qualifiers. You know, it's not really a full length season, but you know what I mean. We get further along into the event and we get to see even more intense Valorant, because then there's a lot more on the line. We get somewhat of a better idea of what to expect, because we already got some top players that we're going to be keeping our eyes on. We got some teams that we expect to do well, and we got some potential upsets along the way as well. So again, the story is building. It's all coming together here at Vessel.
Yeah, hopefully. Everything works out smoothly from here on out. No more audio issues, which really are just the absolute worst. There's been so many developments in audio, particularly with, streaming and then COVID hitting and everyone wanting to get into streaming and whatnot. And it still doesn't really feel like it's fixed the questionable problems, the things that just don't make any sense. I really, really empathize with our producers when it comes to audio engineering because, gotta tell you, I have bought so much stuff trying to make it simpler, and it seems like just luck of the draw when it comes to actually making audio simple.
Yeah.
It's
Honestly,
tough.
like just to even get my mic to sound the way that it does now, which I'm sure is not perfect, but still the fact that to get it to sound to where I am at least somewhat pleased with it took hours upon hours of just turning knobs, trying to get the right sound. And now I can't touch it. I can't touch my mic because I'm afraid if I touch it, then it's going to throw like some type of setting off, and then I'll never find it the right way again. So again, I'm
Mhm.
very very meticulous, very particular about my audio settings. It is a pain in the tuchus. So yes, once again, very very relatable to our wonderful producers who actually do the real work. We're up here, we're doing the easy stuff. You know what I mean? It's the producers in the background that are really making the magic come to life. And again, you really have no idea how much goes into this production, into these productions, until you actually get in a seat behind the scenes and you're back there hitting the switches. So again, big shout out to our production here at Vessel.
And just in general to Vessel, honestly. I know we're gonna be kind of vamping a little bit here, and it's not about the Valorant, but seriously, the production that's been put on, I've been super impressed with. I already kinda gushed about how cool that these, like, non-professional setups have been going. By non-pro, I mean collegiate in high school. And a lot of times it actually seems like professional setup. And it's so I don't know, it's like the rare time that I actually wish that I was back in high school or college. I actually had a pleasant time in both. I'm one of those rarities. I don't know about you, Captain Ahsoka, but I liked high school. But I still look at what's going on here and I'm like, darn, if only I was back in high school and I could participate in all these things. Maybe I actually would have gotten interested in STEM as opposed to get a rather useless art degree, to be honest. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, I suppose.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Like I definitely prefer college to high school. Like high school, whatever, whoop de woo. I just kind of got through it. And
Mhm.
again, because we tried to start like gaming clubs, and we tried to start like esports
That's true,
clubs,
we had that,
and
yeah.
then but the thing is that we got denied. We got boom, instant red stamp, no go, don't pass go, don't collect 200, you're not getting approved, and so it was like, whatever, whoop de woo. So instead, going into college, there was a little bit more room there. You could do
True.
more creative things in college. And again, I just like college in general. As a matter of fact, it is one of my long-term aspirations to become a collegiate esports coach, which is why I'm currently completing my degree. Wink, wink. So I'm also currently a college student, which is also wonderful. So again, a lot more stuff going on now than it was when I first attended college 10 years ago. I know I'm really, really old. That was back when I had hair, and it was fantastic. It was a great time. Um,
Oof.
but still, yeah, college. And again, this is why I'm honestly heavily involved in it. And a lot of the courses that I'm taking now in college are actually going along the lines to try and make esports as an extracurricular activity more readily available, particularly in public education. So again, it's the passion that a lot of us share, and I'm sure you as well, ZG Gaming or Zombie Grub, that we
Yeah,
want to give
definitely.
the opportunities that we didn't have to the next generation. So again, that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, but that's a good way of putting it. And I actually got the pleasure of teaching at the NYU Game School years ago, and that was a trek, man. But whenever I actually got there, I had to go from DC to New York once a week, just round trip in a single day. When I actually got there, because Amtrak kind of sucks. Hopefully, they're not sponsoring anything we're doing here. They would break down constantly. But when I got there, it was so fun to actually be able to teach people about just like the philosophy of esports. I basically centered around kind of the idea of these would be game developers. That's what they're studying to do, and whether or not they should seriously consider the esports angle for any of the games that they make and the positives and negatives of that. So that was really interesting, and I hope that they got something from it as well for the year that I taught. But I also have a keen interest in broadcasting thanks to esports. Like I was that shy kid. We're getting like into the real Captain Ahsoka and Zombie Grub show at this point. When I was a kid, I was so shy. Like my family still like around my family, I'm still so shy. I put on the face. I put on the Zombie Grub face, right? But I was just unable to speak clearly and loudly in my opinion. And then I just started talking about a video game that I liked. And then suddenly I'm doing this, like, as a professional, full time, whatever, whatever. So that's what I love, like teaching other people about, because I think that it's such a nice way to get people comfortable with public speaking, which I think every kid has hated basically, as much as I've heard anyway.
Not me.
And then just being able to, like, coherently speak their opinions and sound like they're confident. I want to do that for the future generation. So you get us combined together, and we're just all about, I guess, the teaching of the youngins. I suppose we want that generation to be better than we ever were, and apparently they already are. They're better at Valorant and they're better at commentary. Some of the young guns on the mic nowadays, it's incredible.
Oh, absolutely. But speaking of new voices, it's time to throw to some new voices, because that is actually the end, believe it or not, of the Zombie and Ahsoka show, the Zombie Grub Ahsoka show. We're actually going to give it to the main show, the main event, the reason we're all here. We're going to throw it over to Risk, so that way they can bring in our special guest of the day. It is none other than Flo Shizzle. Take it away.
What's up? Welcome, everybody. I am so happy and glad to be able to introduce our special guest for tonight. Like Captain Ahsoka said, it is going to be Flo Shizzle. We're going to bring him. He's actually going to be joining here on the couch.
Hey,
What's up, man?
doing pretty good. Thank you for having me.
Man, we're so happy to have you here. I know you've been working a lot with Jason, and we were happy to have you on here with us. I know you just got done with your stream. How did it go?
Let's not talk about that. It didn't
Rough
go
games?
too well, but the vibes are still here, so that's all that matters.
Hey, it happens. It happens. We've all been
It
there.
really does.
Man, I would love to know about your career and just a little bit about your background in the industry.
All right, sure. So I started with TikTok. Actually, the funny thing is, I kind of didn't like TikTok originally. It was the new app, and I was kind of one of those sticklers. I was like, I'll stick with like Instagram, Snapchat, and I was like posting videos on YouTube and Instagram. But then my friend invited me onto his podcast, and he was like, "Hey, you're really good at Valorant." This was when I just started, but I already played CS before, so I had a little bit of like prior knowledge back when no one played Valorant or no one really knew yet. And he was like, "You should try TikTok," and I was like, "You know what? Good joke. Haha." He's like, "No, I'm serious." So I was like, "Okay, fine. I'll give it a shot. And if anything happens, then you'll know it was because of you." I'm pretty sure that podcast is still out there somewhere with those exact words. And I think the first video that I posted, it was just like a quick, like 30 to 45-second video of me just like explaining how to play like FPSs in general to a friend that never played one before. And it went decently viral. I think it got like 100,000 to 200,000 views. And then that's when I started thinking, hey, maybe people actually like what I'm saying. So from then on, I started posting more regularly. I think at one point I was posting like twice a day, and I was still working a job at the time. Actually, at one point I was working 3 jobs, and posting videos at the same time. Until I got picked up with Anbox. They had a Valorant team in the beginning. They don't have one anymore, but they had like Yay, which is our pride and joy that is now elsewhere. And I basically worked with them for 3 years, posting informational Valorant content. I personally talk a lot about smokes because I feel like it's an underrepresented part of Valorant. A lot of people don't like playing smokes, and I
I
wanted to make it
love
easy.
playing smokes, man.
You're
I
one of the
play
few. You're
Omen.
one of
I
the
play
few.
Omen
I love to
most
hear
of the
that. That's
time.
awesome.
Um, what? So starting out your career, what was like the most success you found when you were starting out? Like what
Uh,
do you think made you successful at the start?
I think in the beginning it was the fact that I played like CS and I played a lot. So I actually before Valorant I played CS and I got to a pretty like good rank. I got to like global elite. It was ESEA at the time. I know nobody plays ESEA nowadays. It's all face it. And then there was Overwatch and I got to Grandmaster in that. And then after I played like a lot of games, I took that and I'm a pretty like relaxed person and I was like, hey, if I can like me as a person who doesn't sweat can make it, then anyone else who's like wants to put in a little effort can definitely do it. So then making these videos, that would be like probably the first level of success, just taking what I had in my mind and putting it into something out there in the world.
So I think we're gonna hop into our first game. We're gonna keep on talking when we're hopping into the first game real quick.
No problem.
I know the players have been wanting to play all day. So
Ooh, I
so
like the new Gecko.
I did see the changes that happened to Gecko. I think it needed to happen, especially to make Gecko a little bit more viable.
I agree. He's actually quite good now. I think they're probably gonna need to wait a little bit for everyone to get used to the Gecko because right now I'm just not used to playing against Geckos. But I think I played like almost a Gecko in every single game because he's quite strong. His flash is a lot better now.
Well, talking about changes, I know in your most recent YouTube video, you did how you hit Radiant playing ISO.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think ISO is actually viable in competitive scene right now?
I think he is a little on the weaker side. He's not terrible. He's quite balanced in terms of the fact that like there's no part that's like overwhelmingly strong or weak. But I think that's kind of the flaw in the fact that like there are agents that do just like
Choose your agent.
better in general. And there's not really seems to be a slot for him at the moment. Personally, I feel like you'd replace like the KO or one of those aggressive initiators instead of like a duelist like Razor Jet because I don't think ISO replaces that. But at the moment, there's not a good enough reason, and plus a lot of his util is kind of like gimmicky. So I don't think there's a spot in it, the competitive meta right now for him.
We've seen, I believe, throughout the week so far, we've seen one ISO.
Oh, how'd it do?
I don't remember ever seeing the ult come out.
It's really a 50-50 ult. Like I know there's like a lot of benefits to the ult and how you time it, but in general it's so circumstantial. Like ISOs will naturally hold their ult for a while because it's just not super strong and can end up throwing away a lot of leads.
Yeah, I haven't actually got to play ISO yet, which is unfortunate. The crazy thing is I stepped away from Valorant and then went to CS.
Oh, how you liking CS2?
I like it. It was my first time playing CS too.
Oh, just in
Like
general?
CS,
Okay.
yeah, in general, I've never played CS before that.
All right. It's a fun game. I still have CS always has a place in my heart.
All right, so big question: who is your favorite Valorant competitive team?
Competitive, so just like pro
Yep.
team? Okay. What type of criteria are you saying? Are you saying just like for fun or just like the best team?
The best team. Let's do that.
The best team? Honestly, I still think it has to be Fnatic. I know that EG has done well, but I think Fnatic is still like just because they lost one tournament doesn't make them like not have won like 3 in a row before.
See, and that's what a lot of these high schoolers need to look at. Some of the high school teams that we have in our tournament, even if you guys get knocked out, that doesn't mean you're bad.
No, it
It
doesn't.
just means you
One
have stuff that
match,
you need to improve on.
yeah, it's endless in improvement. You can keep getting better. There's no cap here.
All right, so you were a you're still a content creator for
Yep.
Subliners?
No, no longer. They dropped their Valorant division. So
That's
there wasn't
unfortunate.
as much. Yeah, wasn't much as need. But even they dropped it technically like a year before I was dropped. But like before it was like, oh, we'll keep the TikTok page running since it was doing very well. But then they never got back into a
30
team and
seconds
they
left.
just cut the whole thing.
What was it like being a content creator for them?
I do really like the aspect of working with other people in the industry that actually care about the same things you do. It's kind of rare to find other people also wanting the same in when creating videos and kind of being able to bounce ideas off of them. It was really cool. They had a lot of like professionalism to it when I was just like a person with a camera and a webcam. But they have the whole like setup. They, you know, some of them were like worked in movies before in Hollywood. So it was really cool to network with a lot of the people and talk to them.
What I would say, how much do you know about the high school scene? And what is your thoughts on the high school scene for esports right now?
So actually, funny enough, I'm a coach for a high school team in Indiana. It's a digital school. So I've been with them for just like, we just started. It was probably like less than a month, 3 weeks about, and I've been coaching them. It's really cool. Honestly, I always say I wish I had this when I was in high school because we didn't. And I would have been on this, and I'm glad that other people are finding a passion. I'm glad that esports in general is getting recognition, not only just like online in terms of, you know, major tournaments, but also, you know, down with, you know, people growing up with this now. Like future generations will grow up remembering their times on varsity Valorant for their team, which is like, you know, it's really cool to see. It's like a big change in society.
Yeah, it is. I wish I would have had it in high school. Like, man, no torn ACL, no torn MCL. Like, it would have been so much better. Like, no injuries. I would have loved having this back in high school.
Exactly, that's my exact thoughts.
Last player standing.
So I do think we're going to send it back
30
over to the
seconds left.
casters since we are about into round 2. I know you're going to do some casting of your own. I bet they have plenty of questions to ask you. So I think we are going to send it back over to Captain Ahsoka.
All right, sounds great.
Alrighty, well, thank you, Risk, once again for that wonderful interview. We always love seeing Risk on the couch. And then once again for Flo Shizzle joining us on the desk today. Flo Shizzle, I mean, for the, you know, just off the rip, Risk is right. I'm gonna have a lot of questions for you as we go throughout the event because, again, you know, there's just so much to talk about, especially with Valorant. But it's also gonna be a TriCast as well. We're gonna have Zombie Grub joining us, I do believe, in between sets to, you know, kind of go over the stats and everything else. But Flo Shizzle, you know, starting off, Audrey Kell taking a 2-0 lead, now going into the bonus against West Charlotte.
I'm really excited to see what they have in store. This comp is really unique.
Yeah, and you know, that was it was so funny because this is one thing I actually wanted to talk about, you know, because you were bringing up how, you know, that you love smokes. Smokes are, you know, they're underrated, and you know what, I couldn't help but agree because in Valorant I actually play Phil, so like I'm a filler main, right? So whatever position that we need is the one that I'm taking, and I noticed that my main changes with the seasons and it changes with the meta. Like when I first started, I was always playing Sentinel because that was the meta, it was the double Sentinel meta, and then I was playing Initiator because it was a double Initiator meta that came in the season afterward, and now I find myself maining smokes.
Yep, that's quite accurate. The meta changes, people want to play certain agents, and then the ones that are left out are the ones that are required.
Cover going out.
Here we are once again, Audrey Kell in the bonus round with a 1-player advantage for V3, and you know, my favorite agent of all time is Viper. Even before, you know, I was maining controls, always love Viper. I think they're so cool. And any team that has a Viper, I'm immediately biased towards. What about you?
I think Viper is really cool. I think it's a bit interesting having it as the solo smokes for Ascent. I think the dome smokes and Omen and Brimstone are just kind of easier to use since Viper's wall can be kind of gimmicky. But maybe there's some Viper lineups that I haven't seen with the orb to help out with the wall to get them on site.
And you know what? I absolutely agree. As much as I love Viper, again, they're my favorite agent. I think they're better in a double controller comp and not so much as a solo controller. When you're on Ascent, especially, you know, I could definitely see Omen has been the meta for a long time, but also Astra coming through with a higher pick rate on Ascent. Do you think Astra is also, you know, one of the meta controllers here on Ascent?
Astra is actually my jam. I played Astra until I hit Radiant, and it was back when it first came out. And I think Astra's one of the strongest maps is Ascent, strictly because the chokes are so good for the pulls and the stuns. And Omen is good, but you know, if you want to be a little extra, I think Astra is right up there.
Also, I just think Astra is a amazing pair with KJ, because if you can hit the gravity well and just bring them into the nano swarm, I think that is like one of the best setups, you know, between agents that there is. But meanwhile, we do see West Charlotte. They were able to answer back there in the bonus, denying the bonus to Ardry Kell. And if you're not familiar with VESL, just a friendly reminder, Ardry Kell was definitely one of our top teams last season, and they're looking to carry on the tradition here in this season. As you know, they do have quite the reputation to uphold. As now you can see Swifty Aplos already finding an elimination, and it should be a free plant on B. But oh my goodness, I love these gamer names. So much fun trying to pronounce them on the first try.
It really is. Sometimes the unique names, I always wonder how people come up with their names, especially like there's definitely a story behind it.
Oh, here we go. As you can see, the spike is yet to be planted, and West Charlotte have all but taken control of that B site, and now the trades are going underway here in Market, as it will be Salty Spittoon forcing their way into B main. They have the ult, the flash is out, but it's not gonna do them any good. Swifty A+ able to get the elimination.
10 seconds left.
They don't have much time. They really have to pick a site and get the spike down. Oh, wait, do we have an AFK?
I don't know what happened there. It does look as though Arisu might have been AFK with the spike, and that is unfortunate because, again, West Charlotte, they were doing phenomenal that round, and if they had their KO with the spike, they might have come away with the dub, but it looks like we are going to get our first timeout. This is going to be a tech pause to see if we can get everybody back in, but let's get back to a little bit of more questions. Once again, you know, when we had these intermissions, this is something that I like to call the Flow Shizzle and It's Soka show. We get a minute to, you know, kind of banter, you know, talk it out a little bit. And again, there's so much to cover in Valorant, and you know, I always ask, you know, a lot of different questions, especially when Zombie's here. I love talking to Zombie because they have such great input. But I want to ask you about the recent reworks when it comes to the maps. Breeze just got its rework, and honestly, I love it. I love the changes they made. What are your expectations for the changes being made to Icebox?
Oh, the changes being made to Icebox, I would have to say that it's already started shifting with its previous update where they made it so the box is vertical. So that means that Viper was a little less necessary before. It's still a very strong pick, and the meta is still Viper, but before it's like you had to play Viper. Now it's like, it's still strong. Omen still works great. I would say they're probably going to make a few changes to either B or mid. A's okay, but you can kind of work slow. And I tend to see that Riot likes to make changes to maps to make it so that there's not just one way of playing it. Before, like, for example, Breeze A site was really bad because you just kind of had to dash onto site and just pray you didn't get spammed through your own Viper wall. But now they added a few extra things to make it easier to approach the sites. And I think that's probably what they're going to do with Icebox.
You know what? I'm looking forward to it because Icebox is my #1 favorite map ever, and again, mostly just because I'm partial to the snow. I love any type of snow map. Ice maps, I think it's all fun. But you know, here we are now going into round number 5, and already you can hear Thresh being called out a little early here.
Yeah, they are using it to take B main control, and they end up picking the Tiles player.
Man, that was a great early pick here. And, you know, you can see the spike now somewhat in towards mid. It looks like they're trying to go for an A push, but I don't know if it's going to do them any good as Gecko able to throw out Dizzy, but I don't think they were able to connect.
Yeah, they do have the second use of Thrash right here. That's going to be pushing all the players toward A main. Yeah, it doesn't seem to connect, but besides that, they do have the info that all the players are toward A.
And out goes our favorite little piece of utility there. Mosh, not able to find any eliminations, but only one player remains. Jay, the last player standing, will be gunned down by just a good player. My goodness. Flushizzle, how you feeling about that aggressive defense coming from Audrey Kell?
I really like it. I think a lot of beginner teams tend to just shrink into their own sites while not taking any sort of initiative, and using that Gecko ult and being able to use both charges is super great. If you use it when you're kind of back site, you kind of won't get a chance to get a second one, but if you use it aggressively, you usually get that chance to pick it up and use it again. So I really like that out of them.
And you know what, we've seen so much Ascent. I can only imagine how much Ascent you've experienced in your day, you know, between just not just making content, but of course, you know, doing your coverage of Valorant esports as well. You know, I want to ask, what is your ideal what is, in your opinion, the ideal composition here on Ascent?
Well, the most standard and meta comp would usually be running an Omen, a KO, a Killjoy, and then a Jet. And then for the final one, it's usually, let me see.
Sova.
Yeah, it's usually Sova, exactly. So that's usually the most common comp for it. It gives you the aggression you need and also the information you need.
Okay, good, because that's also exactly what I was going to say, and I needed to know if I passed the test, and I think I would have gotten at least a 90 to a 95 on that. Feels like I aced it. So regardless, yeah, I do agree. That seems to be the composition here on Ascent, but again, like you had said, you know, we're seeing a little bit of a change here, especially with that Gecko, and not to mention the Sage, too. I remember Sage being part of somewhat of an old composition where, again, you can go for the window peaks with the ice wall, but we have yet to see it.
Yeah, we have yet to see it. It seems like they aren't really shifting toward that direction, but it can always come out at any time.
That it can. And now the lone KJ from West Charlotte able to get the spike down, so at least they're going to get some extra credits, get some spike money. But again, this 1v5 as the lockdown goes out, it's a little bit of a risky play. Not
it is
sure
a 1v5
what.
and a dream.
Yeah. I mean, good luck to you. I think with the use of the ultimate there, the lockdown, at most they might have bought a little bit of time, but I don't think it's going to be enough. As you can see, Swiftyopolis just walks into the firing squad.
Yeah, it was a lot to do. Committing the KJ ult might be a little bit of a mistake, as they could have used it on a round that was more likely to be won when they had teammates left alive, but I mean, it was a valiant attempt nonetheless.
Yep, gotta give credit to the effort. A for effort for sure. And not to mention, you know, gotta give it up to Swiftyopolis, because even though, you know, their team currently sitting at a 4-round deficit, they are the top frag for their squad respectively by at least 5 eliminations. So even, you know, playing the Sentinel role, they're still getting their hands a little dirty.
Yeah, indeed. It's really hard, especially as a Sentinel, to get these high kill rounds, because especially on the attack side, you don't really have that much utility to get those kills.
Well, here we go. Round number 7 now underway, and you can see just a good player, who honestly I think might be more than just a good player. There might be a great player, as again, they're pushing the initiative, and then Captain Caster's Curse comes into full swing. Right when I was saying they were a great player, not only them, but also the KJ get eliminated.
All right, this is actually looking good for the attacking side. Maybe they'll be able to get their second round on the half.
You know what? I got one. I got another question for you, but I'm gonna save it to the end of this round because it is one of my favorite questions. But meanwhile, you do see Audrey Kell still holding on, able to find the elimination. Salty Spittoon getting one on Ryan Gosling. R.I.P. Put that one in your notebook. Regardless, it is now a 3v3 retake coming in from Audrey Kell here in the post plan.
There's no ults to work with, so this is going to be straight dry fights as they're coming out. We don't really have a smoke for A main, so it's really up to this double hell setup whether it can hold or not.
And out goes the utility. Nanoswarm has been used. They're buying enough time as the ice wall goes out as well. And now only the lone Sage Prism remains. And they too will be gunned down for a team ace. in the favor of West Charlotte.
Oh, the unfortunate part is that all the players on the attacking side on West Charlotte ended up going down to the spike, so they won't have that much econ. Some of them are already on light shield. We have a Spectre on the KJ. This is going to be a little bit tough, even though we won the previous round. This round isn't going to be much easier.
And you know, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, again, let's talk about the 9-3 curse a little bit, because it's a meme as old as Valorant itself. Do you believe in the 9-3 curse?
I believe it when it's for me, but it tends to never work out. So I use it to just kind of, I guess, cope. Things, you know, it can always happen. But, you know, I think I tend to use it for when it's beneficial to me. If it's for them, I'll hope that they don't hit it.
Oh, absolutely. No biases whatsoever. Meanwhile, you do see the KO dagger does suppress the KJ, and they have to get out of dodge, avoiding the danger. And now, here comes the no command from KO, as they are going to force their way onto site. And again, that no command, definitely one of the best entries, especially coming onto this boatyard on Ascent, as they do manage to force their way on. They find one elimination, Arisu. Now gonna literally spear charge the offense here as they take full control of the B site.
That was a really great KO out there. Hitting the site where KJ is at is the perfect time to do it. So that way, there are all the utilities down. KJ is pretty much the most vanilla of agents at that point, and she normally plays off of her util, and shutting out the ability to do that makes her super weak. Oh!
Last player standing.
Oh my god. Oh my, whoa.
Big turnaround from Ardrikel. Alt, util, all down and by the wayside. Ardrikel come through just with the flick of the wrist and just good old-fashioned gun skill in order to take the retake there. It looks like them heads were definitely clicking.
That it was. Oh my god. Yoru popped through the smoke, immediately took down 2 players, allowed the rest of the team to flood the site, and it looked bad in the beginning, but clearly they had faith and they ended up switching it up. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, and we already talked about the 9-3 curse for sure, but we also have already seen the existence of the Captain Caster's curse. There's no debate about that. The Captain Caster's curse is 100% real.
Yeah, I believe that. That one, I'm pretty sure there's statistical evidence on that.
100%. You already heard it. Flow Shizzle certified and confirmed Captain Caster's curse is a real thing. As now we are heading into the next round here, and take a look at this flick with the judge. And you know, this is another thing I want to talk to you about, Flow Shizzle. You know how we know the judge needed a nerf? Is because even after the nerf, it didn't even seem like there was a difference.
Nope. There was, honestly, I forgot it was nerfed once, and it's crazy how I forgot, because I remember thinking it was like a good nerf, and then now playing Valorant, I'm still equally as terrified, if not even more, for some reason.
And that's how you know something desperately needed a nerf. But look at Flick. They're not checking their corners, and they will be eliminated. But at least Salty Spittoon was there to get revenge on Ryan Gosling. As now you can see that the spike will be planted, this time on the A site. And still the defense from Ardrikel holding strong. Even though they're not really playing solidified defense, they're really on the move.
Yeah, this is going to be a really hard hold for the attackers here. Ardrikel does have a Yoru ult to use, so they can find out that both players are held. This is looking pretty rough, but we'll see what happens.
Here we go. Thresh does get called out. Let's see if they're going to be able to catch anybody with it. They're going to be dropping down low, looking for the elim, and Salty Splatoon takes out the classic to find the header. And now look at Swifty Atlas with the Bucky, trying to go nutty.
Whoa.
Finds another! Swifty Atlas trying to get rid of the wingman. They do! And
No
they manage to
way.
secure the win. Swifty Atlas going absolutely nutty with the Bucky.
That is crazy. I've never seen so much value out of a Bucky. Oh my god. They didn't end up clearing hell. They assumed that there was only going to be one player there, and that just sealed the deal as Swifty Atlas catches off 3 players sitting in Jenny. That's crazy.
That was absolutely nuts. What a round. Again, Again, I'm sorry, when I'm trying to read these names, I keep getting confused with Swiftly and Swifty. Swifty Atlas definitely putting on for their team and putting the kill in Killjoy.
Really?
You should run.
Here we go. The entry now coming in from West Charlotte is successful. Not to mention you do have the KJ ult that was able to clear sight. No players detained. Ryan Gosling from down low, having some fun with the Vandal, just doing a couple of peekaboo shots. Not much doing as the spike does get planted.
West Charlotte's KO is right outside of glass. Might be catching a Viper off guard. Does get the kill. Oh, but this KJ ult might be in danger right here. It is. It's going to get taken down. That shuts down pretty much most of the retake potential for the defenders here.
Yeah, I mean, good luck to you. It seems like West Charlotte, even though they were starting off slow, have definitely found their footing here. And now Dizzy, not going to be much of an annoyance or a nuisance. It gets put down. The poor armadillo. Again, I just think Dizzy is so cute. I can't stand whenever it gets eliminated. It's really upsetting, that poor little blue armadillo.
It is an armadillo now that I think about it. I didn't even really realize.
And it's so funny. I talk about this with people all the time, like just to make sure. Like, am I tripping? That Dizzy looks like an armadillo. If anything, you know, and not to mention they're just so cute. But
yeah, there really is.
At the same time, I still have no idea what Wingman is, nor do I know what Mosh is. Honestly, the best description I've ever heard of Mosh, and this was when Gecko first released, somebody said, what was that little booger thing you just threw?
That's pretty accurate, especially with the way it like splooshes on the ground. It is a big giant booger.
and I'm pretty sure Thresh is a fish.
Oh, that does make sense. That okay. It looks kind of like a shark, right?
Yeah, something. It's definitely something. It wiggles. Meanwhile, we're getting right back to the action as the stage wall does go up and it is immediately melted. My goodness. As it looks like they are going to bait and switch here, and the rotation is fully underway. Now going to be checking out mid.
They do have the Yoru TP in terms of Ardrikel that he does end up taking the TP to end up toward B, so this fake might not work as well as they wanted. There's only 2 players here, so it's still a 5v2, and they can get smoked out. Oh, and the first kill goes in, opening up the B site. And there's a second. Oh my god, Ryan Gosling is on a tear.
You know what? I never thought I would say that in Valorant, but you know what? You're absolutely right. Ryan Gosling going absolutely nuts here on Ascent. And Ryan Gosling against an Odin managed to get the win. My goodness, Ryan Gosling. And not to mention Arisu, of course, on the cleanup. But my word, what started as an Ardrikel landslide is now on the cusp of going into a 6-6 half.
It was looking kind of rough in the beginning. I was kind of being a little worried for West Charlotte, but they do seem to be picking it up, and they are trying new things. The trades are working really well, and it's nice to see the duelists starting to go online. Confidence is a big thing that can carry teams.
Well, here we are now, and take a look at this. The operator on a Gecko? Okay, that's something. That's definitely something. I'm definitely used to seeing the operator on, you know, the likes of Jet. You know, to me, that's the best. But now, here comes the ult dump. We've already seen 4 ultimates on the side of West Charlotte. 2 have been used, and only the res for the side of Ardrikel is available. Ryan Gosling still has the Blade Storm available. Has yet to call it in, but with that entry from the double ult from West Charlotte, should be no problem to get themselves onto site with the spike planted. As now here comes the rest of the cleanup, and Prism able to find 1 elimination there on Jay and is able to get the res.
Oh, that's going to be huge. A 5v4 retake coming in. We have, it really depends on how well this tree area is being held. Without it, oh, that was a full flash. Now it's a one-sided hit, all coming from heaven. Oh, the knife's coming. Oh, this is a shutdown with the Odin spam. This is just unfair at this point.
I mean, between the Odin spam and Ryan Gosling on the Blade Storm, I mean, that was literally just a firing squad. And it looked like Ardrikel just could not hold on. West Charlotte with the comeback in the first half, able to tie it up going into the second.
6-6. Honestly, I would say this is actually in favor of now West Charlotte, because they're on the easier side. I would say Ascent is a defender-sided map. Did we get a DC on Ryan Gosling? I'm kind of seeing that.
Listen, I hope not. Ryan Gosling, I mean, they were the clutch factor in the first half. You better hope they didn't DC. Someone really unplug Ryan Gosling and plug them back in.
Yeah, really. Has he tried turning it on and off again?
I don't know. But it does seem like I think we're going to be taking a tech pause, and we will. We get to come back to our beautiful faces. And once again, it is time for more of the Flow Shizzle and Ahsoka Show. Some of our favorites here. And you know what? Again, I just want to dive more into the mind of Flow Shizzle. I want to ask you, we already know who my favorite agent is. It is clearly Viper. Who is your favorite agent of all time?
Of all time, let's see. I have to say it's Astra. I mean, besides the fact that I made content on her, is the idea is that plays different than pretty much every other agent. She kind of goes into all her abilities are based off of kind of already knowing what you want, and I kind of like the big brain aspect of it, where it's like, oh, you're good if you already kind of expected the things to come, but if you're trying to play like super reactionary, you can do it. It's much harder since you have to be very comfortable with placing down stars fast. But to me, I think Astra is like the good combination of like using your brain, but also having that aim to back it up because you can't just have one.
Yep, fair enough. I'm also a big fan of Asher as well, and honestly, one of the characters and one of the agents that really needed a nerf. I'm glad they did decide to not nerf. I'm sorry, buff. I'm used to saying nerf whenever Riot makes changes. Usually it's a nerf, but no. Astra is one of those agents that really needed a buff. Astra and Cypher. Cypher, I think, probably needed the buffs more than any other agent in Valorant history. So I'm glad they got their respective buffs, because when I actually first started playing Valorant, my first ever main was Cypher. So again, great to see Cypher getting credit where credit is due.
Cypher is really good now, actually. It was like kind of the Killjoy show for the previous meta, and actually for like maybe even the meta before that. But now that Cypher's trips have been changed and you can kind of get those unbreakable trips almost, unless you have the util to break them, he has a place now in the meta. There are still maps where KJ is strong, like Ascent, specifically because of her lockdown. In general, you would probably value KJ ult higher than a Cypher ult. But now that Cypher's trips are better, he has that kind of space to be an agent on a team comp. Before Astra, I personally feel like Astra could still get a little bit buffed. Maybe I'm just a little biased, but I do feel like she's a hard agent to play, and before 5 stars might be a little bit too much, but they kind of hit her with the ban hammer, or the nerf hammer, so to speak, with the multiple cooldown changes where it was almost doubled, actually was more than doubled, and then taking away her stars, making her like a lot worse. But she is still played in the meta, so it's kind of hard to argue whether she really needs to be changed or not.
Right. And you know what? I mean, out of the long history of nerfs and changes that are being made to agents, again, you know, Astra is just one of those that I think definitely needs more positive changes than nerfs. But, you know, Riot is going to do what Riot does. But, and, you know, moving even further still, you know, while we have this tech pause and, you know, getting everybody situated, you know, I want to ask you, and this is something I often talk about with Valorant players because it seems to be such a hot topic. Vandal or Phantom?
I knew you were going to ask this question. I knew.
Come on.
Okay, let's see. Because I've made a few videos on these, and I kind of try to talk about it from the most like unbiased perspective. Personally, I think Phantom is a little bit more consistent, and strictly because it has better first bullet accuracy. You have more bullets, so you in general can spray better. Also, spraying through smokes, and me being a smokes player, it doesn't have those tracers that a Vandal would naturally have. So when I pick one, I usually like to pick the Phantom. You can still one-hit headshot with it, obviously within a certain range, but sometimes I feel like spray transfers are like a lot harder. So I'm going to lean toward Team Phantom here. Plus, if you've ever seen Bang on 100 Thieves use that Recon Phantom, it is a masterpiece.
And you know what? It's funny because I was a Vandal for a very, very long time. And this is because my aim was terrible. I'll be honest. So I used to have to rely on the recoil of the Vandal to, like, you know, get me up to the headshot, you know, because again, my initial headshots were terrible, still are. But I've also recently switched to the Phantom thanks to Shopify Rebellion. I've seen a lot of the players use the Phantom and they are really, really good with it. And, you know, after watching what they could do, I was like, you know what, maybe I need to give the Phantom a try. So I started trying it, and then luck would have it that in the next Nightfall, I ended up getting a Phantom skin that I really, really, really wanted. So I was like, okay, it was destiny that I make the switch to the Phantom. But yeah, again, just you gotta love how destiny kind of just lures you into that direction. But another thing I wanted to ask you, I'm glad that you actually, you know, brought up some more, you know, professional Valorant teams. You know, I know you mentioned Fnatic, you know, a little earlier. And you said that is the best team hands down, but I want to know, is that where your fandom lies? Like, because don't get me wrong, like we can all agree on who the best team is, or we can talk about who the best team is, but where does your fandom lie? What jersey are you wearing to the arena?
My favorite team to watch is probably Paper Rex. I know that they have recently made a few changes, but it's just the fact that their playstyle is so aggressive, and it's just watching a bunch of aim stars that have the seemingness to cohesively push sites together, almost like they can read each other's minds. And I think that's really insane. A lot of other teams, yeah, they play slow, and I have a certain place in my heart for teams that are disciplined. But there's just something about 5 players running out and just entirely destroying the site defense, or even on the defense side, because Paper Rex doesn't slow down on the defense either, and pushing, and just in general, it's just very enjoyable to watch. Them as personalities are also just like really, really great people.
Well, again, can't really argue with that. I mean, for me personally, I do like NRG, and not just because of Valorant, but my NRG fandom transcends esports. It transcends different esports titles. Full disclosure, I first became an NRG fan from Rocket League, and then, started watching NRG in different esports titles. I even got to cast NRG for Apex as well as Valorant for the NRG Neon Dream. So again, I'm a big fan of just the entire organization, not just their Valorant team. Also, I'm a big fan of 100 Thieves as well. So I'm glad you brought up, 100 Thieves in there, because I do like them as well. But now the tech pause is over, and so is the Flo Shizzle and Ahsoka show. Now we're getting back to what we all came to see. Some more Valorant here on VESL, as now we get the first round of the second half underway.
This does look like a really strong B push. They do have that Gecko wingman to get the spike down, but it seems like it isn't going to really come into play unless Salty Spittoon goes big. Oh, that was close. That was very, for a second there, if he gets the kill on the Killjoy, he's kind of home free there.
Yeah, well, it looks like it was quick work here for West Charlotte, because as soon as the round begun, it's now over. West Charlotte came in strong to start things off in the second half, considering that they were down by so much in the first. And now, for the first time in this matchup, West Charlotte have the lead over Audrey Kell.
Yeah, it's really strong. Ending the first half with them having the momentum, even though it was a 6-6 half. And it seems even. We have to remember who was starting to win the rounds and chaining them up toward the second half of the first half. And in that, with being West Charlotte, now they carry that momentum. They just won the pistol round. They're likely going to win this next round. And how they carry that forward is, honestly, it's up to them. It's really on them not to drop the ball right now. They're playing well. They just kind of have to stick with their game.
Well, let's see if they're going to be able to. I mean, now they do have a little bit of advantage. They win the pistol round, and then NRG. Well, no, I don't know why I was about to say NRG. The script of Valorant goes: if you win the pistol, you should win the follow-up round, which West Charlotte very well should, given that they have the buy power here. They were able to buy up, and now the spike once again, slowly but surely, making its way over to A.
Anything can happen, but realistically, we're Audrey Kell is sitting on Ghosts and maybe a Sheriff or two, while they're going against Spectres, Bulldogs, and Ares. Yup, this is about what it feels like to rush a site against an Ares with no armor and no weapons.
I wonder how many were able to catch the Wizard of Oz reference, just, casually dropped in there. I loved it. But regardless, it is now a 3v3. Not so bad. But this Ares from up on high from Ryan Gosling, you gotta let them ace.
Yeah, we have to. Oh, no. Come
Swifty.
on. Swifty, come on.
Okay, for real. When you got a teammate and you see a homie with a 4K,
yeah,
like,
you pull out your knife and you bait for them. No, you did 100% Swifty there, just pulls out his knife, jumps around in circles, baits for as long as possible so Ryan can get the kill.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page as that,
Yeah,
because again,
it's just called being a decent person. No, I'm kidding. Nothing too serious, but come on, guys, we can do better.
Exactly. You gotta let the homie ace. Not to mention you had a clear advantage there, and I felt like Ryan Gosling earned it. Between the first round and the second, I feel like they have definitely put in the strong arm on for West Charlotte. Yoru Clone gets dealt with early.
Yeah, this does kind of give away a little information on how it is spread. We did West Charlotte did lose the pick toward mid. This is going to leave a little gap for them to come up through mid. This might be a B split. Oh, we're not looking in the right area. Oh, but it doesn't matter. Just a good player getting a nice headshot onto Wizard. Now, this is the issue with running a Viper. It's kind of awkward to smoke the spawn cross. So I want to see how they deal with it.
Last player standing.
Oh.
Spike down.
Well,
B.
West Charlotte, it looks like they were able to deal with it pretty successfully. I mean, they literally picked out everybody that were in mid at market, and now down goes Prism. West Charlotte coming away with the bonus round here in the second half.
All right, it kind of comes down to this buy round right here. There's this thing where if you lose the pistol round, we usually lose the second round. And the third round, the bonus, if you lose the bonus, you're kind of in a really bad situation, as they now have a chance at being 4-0 on the half with the ability to almost max out in their credits. If we look at West Charlotte's credits, it's insane. And if they lose this round, this is kind of the final round to turn it around. West Charlotte will likely never need to save again for the rest of the half.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm a big fan of saving. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of trying to force a buy, and it kind of seems like RG Kell decided to force buy here, and I don't know if that was the right call, because I would rather go into the next round with West Charlotte in the double digits with a full kit instead of a broken buy. So now you have RG Kell, reaching for the bargain bin, and they gotta hope that they come out on top, because like you had said, if they go down here, they're gonna be in some trouble.
Yes, it is looking like a 4-on-4 right now. We did trade kills at the top of mid and toward A main. Now, this usually benefits the attackers more than it does the defenders, because the defenders are now going to need to split up and look at the B side. It's completely open if Audreykel decides to rotate back toward this B site. But regardless of the site they really pick, they will always have the numbers advantage, which is the unique part of being an attacker, as long as they push as one. They are rotating back toward the B site and re-splitting up across the map with the Neon in mid and Omen and KO toward B. This might not be the site to hit anymore, because they did give the defenders enough time to rotate toward here. The pings from the Yoru are coming out, so this might be enough of a tell, but they don't have that much time to work with.
Yeah, clearly no time, as Wizard is able to put Salty Splatoon into the dirt immediately after coming out of the Dimensional Rift. And now you can see Prism barely avoiding that paranoia, trying to get the spray down, but that spray isn't going to do them any good, as it will be West Charlotte now putting themselves in the double digits.
Great round from West Charlotte. I think if Audreykel really wanted that to work a little bit better, they really needed to speed up and beat the rotates from A to B, but it was kind of hard to do. They did leave that one player toward A. It was a really good trade, and they did have the opportunity of holding it, but the trades just didn't really seem to go fairly on the B site. We'll kind of see what they have in store for this round, with the buy being a little bit weird with 2 Ares and a Sheriff.
Here we go, round 17 underway, and look at Swifty peeking with the op, trying to find one, and then they know the op is there, and they still chose to peek it anyway. That's risky.
It was. Swifty not connecting the 2 shots, which might give them the opening. They do get into B main for free. Oh, and here's Thrash.
I'm certain. Yeah, there you go. Okay, Thrash found its target, and it found the top frag from West Charlotte. It did connect, but now they broke free, and it will be Just a Good Player leading the way, getting a 2-piece to take control of the B site, and they're going to get Thresh back as well, and an operator for good use.
This round could be a swing round. Getting these guns and saving, if they can win this round cleanly, they'll have the money to continue on into the rest of the game. Oh no, is this a knife? No!
Oh no, not like this. Again, that's clippable. You gotta clip those.
That is quite clippable. Oh my. All right, they still do end up closing the round with 3 players on the board. That is quite good. We have to consider that 2 players, the difference between 2 players and staying alive and 3 players staying alive is quite big, because with 2 players staying alive, assuming that each can drop a player or a teammate, you would still have 1 teammate without a gun. But with 3, you would be able to cover your bases and everyone would be able to buy. So if we take a look now, yeah, everyone should be able to get a buy on the attacking side.
Yeah, not to mention, I'm looking at the defense right now, and I'm wondering what their strategy is going to be. Clearly, Ryan Gosling does have the Blade Storm at the ready and have successfully dropped a 20 bomb, but I'm wondering why they didn't buy for Swifty. I felt like they had the monies that they could have, put a better weapon in the hands of Swifty instead of a Spectre, but now look at Arisu showing no hesitation, going straight for the opposition, and just a good player finds an elimination with the op, but has been gunned down by Arisu.
Few trades going down there, top mid and bottom mid. We've lost mid control, but we've also gained A at the same time. This is really strong, and it does look like this is a win for RGKL. They do have the A site, and Wizard would probably want to save this. This is looking quite hard, and they know exactly where he is. Maybe if there's a mistake being made here, if there's a secondary swing, maybe not. No, they are playing safe, so this is going to be quite hard, as he's going to need to retake into multiple crossfires and need to break this sage wall. Or not, actually.
You gotta love Omen. They can just get up and over almost anything. But with that being said, I kind of agree with your earlier sentiment that Omen should save. And you know what? I agree. I think they should save this Vandal. I mean, at the best, they might be able to get one exit frag. I don't see them getting both, as they do manage to get one. There we go. There's Prism. Now looking to get one on Swap the Flop, but no good. Unfortunately, Wizards' health was just too low. And now RGKL are back in this after two much needed back-to-back wins.
This game is going back and forth. Originally, it was looking kind of bad, seeing that West Charlotte did get those 4 rounds in a row on the new side, the defending side for them, and it looked like they had the money to work with. Now we are tapping a little bit into that bank, seeing that we have a Marshall and a Spectre. They are making sure that they can buy for the next round, but to be honest, I think Ryan Gosling could probably drop one and make this a full buy.
And that's exactly what I said for the last round, too. I'm wondering why they don't buy for the homies, but there's a reason that they are in the game and I am on the desk. It's because they're just better. So again, I have to trust the process. But one thing that I am going to be trusting is the ult economy. You can already see the Omen use their ult. They still have the null command and the KJ lockdown as well, as it does look like the spike should go down. And honestly, if I was RGKL, I'd be calling in this Viper's Pit. And there it goes.
Oh. This is going to make the retake that much harder with 4 players in the pit, except one on the edge right here. This could be the pick that could open up the entire site. Oh, this is going to be rough. Arisu does end up equalizing it a little bit more, putting it in a 2v4 situation, but something miraculous needs to happen, and it's beginning. It's
slowly but surely
really happening.
It's a 2v2, but I don't know if they're going to have enough time to get the defuse, as now only one player remains. It's a 1v1, but there's no shot. No time on the spike. Still a good round from RGKL, and now they are 1 round away from equalizing against West Charlotte.
It was a very, very valiant attempt. It was going to be hard regardless, just with the Viper's Pit being there, and it happened to be the last person alive was that Viper, keeping up the pit the entire time. Valiant attempt from Arisu. A little bit... Maybe they could have sped it up there to try, but it was just so hard. You can't really take a Viper's Pit too fast, otherwise you're just going to get gunned down from multiple angles.
And what was the big winner there because of that Viper's Pit is simply because by using that one ultimate, they were able to trigger 4 from West Charlotte. So again, that was just a fantastic use there of the Viper's Pit in order to really nullify 4 ultimates. So, I mean, perfect trade. And now look at this. RGKL now have 3 ultimates at the ready at the cost of 1.
That's quite important to know, as they won't have that much to use, and they're going to have to rebuild their ult economy. Losing while using that many ults is kind of detrimental. And it's really going to rely on a lot of just personal, individual performance to be able to win these rounds now, so that they don't have these abilities that are so strong.
Well, West Charlotte have decided to give up the A site entirely, and I'm not mad at that decision at all. Sometimes you just have got to play for retake. Now, more often than not, you will see this on Haven, but they're going to try it here on Ascent, and West Charlotte are going to be gunned down in turn. Arisu, once again, the lone player surviving for the side of West Charlotte.
Oh, no. The knife.
Oh, yep, here it comes.
There it is.
A nice,
and an ace.
Oh, an uppercut to the jaw, and the first ace of the day. And this time is going to go to RGKL thanks to the Yoru.
Yoru is honestly quite good with coming in at 28 kills for Salty Spittoon. This is kind of showing the ability of what happens when you have one of your strongest fraggers on this Yoru. He's essentially everywhere on the map, all at the same time. He can be at B in a moment's notice. He can be at A. You see him one place, he could be on the opposite side of the map the next. It's really strong putting a Yoru with your top fragger. So this is really cool to see.
Well, here we go. We are now even neck and neck at 10 rounds apiece. And Arisu has just been so aggressive here on this A main site by Archway and have been able to find a little bit of damage. Unfortunately, it was done to them as Swifty, once again, taking out the Bucky. We have already seen them do a lot of work with it. Let's see if they can do it again. Unfortunately, the Bucky will not be going nutty in round 21. That was just a fantastic use of Thresh there, but Ryan Gosling has the Odin as Dizzy goes out. It's on target through the Dizzy. Ryan Gosling gets the elim.
A full blind kill. That's cosmetic flashes. It's a joke, but it was a really nice kill from Ryan. We do have a cap push coming up from our KO. He almost gets the spray there. Now this retake is going to be a little interesting on how they play it. They know one's A main. Full flash on the KJ. Now it's a 1v1 coming between the KO and the enemy Viper. Pushing up. Oh, nice headshot from Arisu coming in to close out the round, putting them ahead 11-10.
Arisu really showing up in the late game here. When it comes to West Charlotte, you know, we've done a lot of talking about Swifty. We've done a lot of talk about Ryan Gosling. But now I feel like Arisu in this late game, once we hit double digits, Arisu just popped off. I mean, look at them. They're currently top fragging with 23 eliminations and 9 assists on the board. Now, when I see my initiators and my controllers, I expect to see a lot of assists, especially on Wizard playing on the Omen. They have 11. That's great. But when you're able to get those high number of assists and top frag at the same time, that's how you know you have some good support on your team.
You really do. The impact doesn't just lie with the individual player or even with the team. It's like overall, he's providing more than just what one player can, with the ability to entry frag and retake aggressively, but also that ability to support his teammates. What a shot.
Yeah, I think Arisu has definitely found their groove. They just don't seem to miss right now. And out comes once again Dizzy. Finds the blind on one, but Wizard still able to get a decent trade. 1 for 1, not bad. And now Swifty with the bot, with the turret, is able to find an elim. And just like that, West Charlotte put themselves onto match point.
Wow, match point for West Charlotte. It was looking, this was really a swing of events. Originally, it was looking kind of bad, then it was looking good, and then it was looking bad again for RGKL. It does look like they aren't really winning a lot of their gunfights. It could just be that Arisu is just popping off, and it was kind of hard to shut it down. I was watching that cat kill, and I wouldn't even know what to do as the Tiles player there if he's hitting shots like that.
Well, here we go. This is it. Audrey Kell have their backs up against the wall. West Charlotte just one away from taking the dub here on Ascent, as Arisu with a really good dagger and the no command on top is literally going to be shutting down this entire push coming from Audrey Kell. And it's going to be a rotate back over towards mid. And Jay is there and waiting with the Neon. They are literally just closing in on this Audrey Kell squad.
They've had most of the map control down, detecting 4 players, but this is where they fight for mid, and Jay does manage to get away. That was very close. But they are refighting for mid, forcing the defenders to need to worry about a few more angles than just a main.
Well, the flash is there on Arisu, but they're able to avoid the danger. Meanwhile, good player able to put it into the Neon. Is Ryan Gosling going to be still holding a main and trying to waste as much time as possible? As you can see, the Yoru ult has been used. Dimensional Rift does come out, but they get gunned down, and now the eliminations all going the way of West Charlotte as only Prism remains. They do have the ult, the res. They're going to have to call it in, but they can't. They will be hunted down by Ryan Gosling, and West Charlotte will take the win 13-10 here on Ascent.
And that was just the meat grinder there at the last round, forcing all the attacking players to need to come through a tiny choke and even run through a smoke. The Yoru was kind of the last-ditch effort there with the ult, coming through, being able to ping the players, but that didn't seem to be enough. But honestly, that was a really great game to be the first game of the day, considering that was back and forth and back and forth. It was looking good for both teams at one point.
Oh, it really was. And again, for a moment, we're thinking, oh, this is going all Audrey Kell. And then all of a sudden, well, West Charlotte, they're taking it back. And then Audrey Kell decides to show up again. But West Charlotte able to hold on to the bitter end. And you know what? I got to tell you, the Ascent streak is still alive. I think that's 7 straight matches throughout the last 3 days that have all gone on to Ascent. So, before I throw it back to Risk, before I throw it back, of course, to the couches, I want to ask you, what map are you hoping to see other than Ascent?
I always like watching Haven games. I think the 3 site aspect of it makes it very, very enjoyable to watch, and it kind of pushes teams to their limit, knowing whether they should rotate or if it's a fake or not. And you can really tell when a team is good at understanding these things depending on how they play Haven. Besides that, Sunset would be cool to see, considering it is the newest map, and seeing if they have anything that the comps that they might be coming out with. I think those would both be equally great maps to see.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I have just heard that we're actually not going to throw the couch because nobody wants to hear from Risk. They want to hear from you. They want to hear from Flo Shizzle. They want to hear from our special guest. So, one time before we go to break, I would just like to give you one moment if there's any acknowledgements you would like to make, any, parting statements that you would like to say. Right now, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, VESL, for having me out. I really do appreciate this opportunity in general. I know that you guys, reached out to me, but I really think that this overall program is such a great thing. We said it before that I wish that this happened when I was in high school, but really, I'm sure that this will be a part of future generations kind of understanding that this is what I grew up with. Before it might be like soccer or basketball, which it still will, but now we'll have an additional layer with, hey, I played on, JV or varsity, and I think that we should, enjoy it and, have fun as well as enjoy the competitive nature.
Well, again, it has been an absolute honor to share the desk with you and be able to cast with you. And again, I hope you actually do it some more. I got to say, it was pretty entertaining. I loved having you on. Love being able to share the desk with you, of course. But that is going to wrap things up, at least for our first matchup. Again, thank you, Flo Shizzle, for joining me. But for those at home, do not go anywhere. We're going to be right back with more Valorant action right here on VESL.
Sup, everybody? I am here
up?
joined with Gemini.
Jason. I do all like the graphic stuff. I'm like the creative director. Pretty much doing all the content network stuff and everything like that. So excited to be on.
So that match we just got to witness.
West Charlotte. I'm so excited to see if they qualify for regionals. That team was actually really amazing. Excited to watch them. That KO clutching up pretty much every game.
Yeah.
It's
And
insane.
the peaks from A main.
Yeah. And that Bucky clutch.
Okay,
What was that, a 4K, an ace?
that was actually crazy. Like,
We have to post that.
was
on Twitter.
not expecting that. That has to be a clip that gets
Yeah.
posted.
That was insane.
I was
Yeah.
not expecting that. I saw the Bucky and I was like, oh, the round's over. Round's
Yep.
over. They lost
Mhm.
that round. And then all of a sudden turns into a 1v1 and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
And we saw Audrey Kell being a little bit toxic in that match, and they couldn't back it up.
Yeah, early on, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Audrey Kell B was up 6-0
Yeah.
and 6 rounds later we're into the half at 6-6 and
Yeah.
then it was getting a little spicy towards the end though too because West Charlotte had I think it was 10-6 and then they
Mhm.
brought it back and then got tied
Yeah.
and then West Charlotte just took over.
Yeah,
I'm
what a
actually
matchup.
I'm actually surprised that game was that close because West Charlotte actually won our summer tournament.
Really?
Yeah, there
For
were
Valorant?
or no, they didn't win the summer tournament. I'm sorry. They made it pretty far
Yeah.
for the seeding they were during our last season, and then they
Mhm.
made it. They beat some pretty good teams during the summer, so I
Yeah,
was
that's
actually
what's up.
surprised that this game was that close. I'm interested to see how far West Charlotte goes.
Yeah.
I know I believe they have 2 more matches tonight, because they are in a group of 4, I believe.
Mm.
So it should be interesting to see how far they
Yeah,
go.
the fact that they stopped a powerhouse like Audrey Kell really does show something. So congratulations to West Charlotte. Best of luck on the rest of your matches.
Yeah. So you are the content director.
Yep.
What do we got coming to us in the next few months?
Yeah, so we got a few montages planned. I know you guys have seen the Rocket League montage. We might be having one of those released sometime in January again. Obviously, we got regionals coming up, so a few hype videos, of course. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be super exciting. We also have the content network stuff. So if anyone is interested in joining basically their team, like their high school's content team, basically doing content around them, highlights, montages, interviews, stuff like that, feel free to reach out to me, Gemini, in the Discord. We want to build, a good community of just really high motivated people who want to like make content around the league and pretty much just make this the best high school league ever. Yep.
We have so many different things in this league. We got STEM content creation teams, esports teams. Later down the line, we might have some casting opportunities
Yeah.
for students to learn.
And we don't want to just make this like esports. We want to make this like a content group in a sense where like you guys submit videos, we react to stuff on stream, what I love reacting to on YouTube is like try not to laugh. So I would love to have like some memes on here, just try not to laugh, we have water in our mouth or whatever. Just this funny, stupid stuff like that. Just doing different videos, just having fun. Podcast soon, maybe.
I
Might be looking into it.
maybe our producer in the background finally gets on stream in some videos.
Pizza time. Let's go.
Yeah, we have a lot of cool things coming to the league in the
Yeah.
next few months. So look
Super
out for
exciting.
all of that stuff. And I think we're gonna hop into our next game.
Let's do it.
Oh, I guess we are actually
We're not.
holding off
wow.
for a minute.
This is awkward.
There was just a new update for Valorant that came out, so
I swear,
Yeah.
every time, like every day, there's like a new update. Apparently.
I swear it's every time during one of our like streams.
Yeah.
There's an update.
Some students just like, yeah, I have to update the game. Like, didn't you play yesterday?
All right, so we are gonna throw it over to our casters, and maybe they can entertain you guys a little bit better.
Mario.
All right. Hello. It does look like we're getting into the game, actually. Presumably, this is actually the game, and it does seem right because, in fact, we are going back onto Ascent. If this had been a Lotus or a Sunset or a Bind or something, I would have I would have called shenanigans. I'd been like, nah, I don't think it's ready. But yeah, no, it's Ascent. So hi everyone, I'm back. Atsoka is still here. Did you have fun? That was a really good match.
I mean, it was fun being able to, talk with our special guest, Flo Shizzle, but and honestly the match itself was actually really entertaining. I'll be honest. That was a good match. To see it go back and forth like that and then having like the most nutty Bucky plays I think I've seen ever. That was great, but then again, it just the only damper on it, the only wet napkin is that, it was Ascent again.
Yeah. And it is Ascent again. If anyone was needing reps watching Ascent, then you come here for that one. I don't know why you would have that, but yeah, you would come here because this is the most chosen map. And again, I was saying this yesterday at the end, but now that I'm back on and this is now my start, I suppose, it is actually kind of getting weird. Because there's one thing for being a nice map that everyone agrees is decent as a best of one choice, and then there's another thing for having still so many other options that usually one or another team would still massively prefer, right? So they'll be like, yeah, we're good on Ascent, the other guy's good on Ascent, but we're great on Lotus, and we don't know if those guys are great on Lotus, and that just is not happening here. So it's actually kind of weirded me out. It's yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is totally normal for best of ones, but this is starting to get weird.
You know what's happening? I think it's just like, well, we can't agree on a map that we both like. Hold on. I bet you we can agree on a map we both hate.
That might actually be the case. Oh, Vey. But certainly, if they have any amount of prep time available to them, they have been able to prep. Like if they've been on the A or B stream, they have been able to find each other's strategies, I guess, and tempo and whatever it is, because yeah, it's been nothing but played. So North Mech looking a little familiar. They will be the ones playing back-to-back today, but we saw them yesterday in a 5v3. This is the start of the real test. As you can see, well, it started off as a 5v5, but now it is a 4v2, not an advantage of North Mech. They are struggling here on defense. First off, Whatabot will be taken down, and that will confirm Palisades getting the first round.
Yeah, and that was actually something I was meaning to address, is that the Palisades A team is nothing to mess with. Now, granted that this is North Mech B, so I'm assuming this is their JV squad, but at the same time, Palisades, even from last semester, was one of the teams that did go to LAN. So again, this is a top-notch team for sure, and really interesting to see that they are bringing in the ISO. I mean, they haven't been able to get on the board yet, but I have high hopes for Chromatic here.
Awesome to see that again. It was something that may have been a bit of a downer for the last time we saw use it. Maybe they were a little more uncomfortable than the Phoenix ended up choosing, but I thought there actually was some highlight play from ISO, and we were able to see it here on Chromatic. The Palisades just rushing on into the A site. They're able to break it open pretty easily. They're winning all these duels as well. As you can see here, Cam takes out Whatabot, and it is quickly a 5v1. Now, Novolt battery, it's like a very useful one, is coming in here on, kind of a what was supposed to probably be more of a retake, cohesive effort thing to a bit of a lurk, and unfortunately that's not even going to work, as we had Zzz actually go kind of looking for that exact maneuver. So an easy breezy 2-0 start for Palisades.
If their name is really just a bunch of Z's, I'm just going to call them Sleep, because that's what it seems like, right? You're sleeping on them, you're catching Z's. But regardless, it is going to be another win going the way of the Palisades. But now we're going into the bonus round. But honestly, it looked like North Mech B may have bought up in that previous round. So I don't know. Yeah, look, they're coming in with a broken buy from North Mech. So this very well could be a bonus round going the way of the Palisades.
Oh, and that's so unfortunate too, because that really was not a round that you can say there were any victories. They, it was literally flawless. So, yeah, that did not work out well for them, meaning that this round probably will also not work out, as we have Palisades once again just busting open the site. It's actually deja vu. They've taken down 2, 3 more coming in, 2 from the side of the defenders, 1 from the attacking side, and that's Sage again. Maybe this time they'll actually be a little more cohesive, though. That was kind of the awkward thing about the previous round, and well, not really. They're showing themselves, they're getting shot down all before Sage can come in to have anything to say. And deja vu indeed if they go down to the Omen. That's exactly what happens.
My goodness, like literally both teams came out and said, hey, do you remember the play we ran last game? Let's do exactly that again. And both teams came in with an agreement, and that's exactly what happened. My goodness. Either way, that is a big bonus round going to the Palisades, as now they will go up 3-0 over North Mech B.
I guess you could argue that's where your neck is, in the north of your body. Yeah, no. But of course, we have north, east, and west mech, is it? I don't think we have south, I think is what we're missing.
It's like, doctor, I got a cramp in my east neck.
Your forearm? Like, the doctor's just so confused. Palisades is really looking quite good. Like, I sometimes it doesn't really end up determining how the game is going to go just because that bonus round went the opposite way that you would expect. But it just, everything else about these rounds really feels so much more powerful for Palisades. They look very confident. They're obviously orchestrating together as a team. They decided to change strategies as well, even though the previous one had worked twice in a row, so you didn't really have to. And they just look really, really good. I mean, North Mech, again, we get to see them in a 5v3 situation, and they did kind of struggle. Positively, you could say it was because the 3 agents that were actually had arrived were pretty good, 3 players. But, you know, if you did want to go negative, I suppose you could say that maybe that means they are a little bit weaker than some of the other teams available. We got a little gulag going on while I've been talking, and it is won by the ISO. And North Mech will not be getting around on the board once again. No Volt Battery just looking almost awkward, you know? They're just coming in after everything is already said and done.
Yep, just a little bit. You know, this ISO also looking pretty hungry, but it was going to be Lego Legend. Lego Legend, by the way, is a name that I remember from last season. As a matter of fact, this entire squad, again, there's a reason that I mentioned the Palisades being a team as to not mess with. Their whole squad is just formidable. And again, not to mention, you know, got Handycam. Honestly, Z's is the only one I actually don't recognize. I'm pretty sure that is probably going to be one of the top players for sure. I mean, they're top fragging right now. But again, I'm wondering who that is from last season, or if it's just an entirely new addition to the team. But, you know, regardless, Palisades, they do have a really stacked lineup.
Yeah, they're showing off in this particular best of one so far, as they are having almost no problem up against North Mech. Might be changing here. What a bot, tucked into the corner, actually got a couple of nifty kills, giving them their best situation yet. 2v3, North Mech still coming in, a man down. ISO using the wall there. It actually would be chasing into the opposition, and that's exactly what ends up happening. ZZZ with the 4K, Chromatic picks up the last one, and Palisades, they might have had a little bit more trouble because of that Cypher positioning. They didn't catch it particularly fast to stop, you know, 2K instead of 1, but it still didn't end up mattering as far as the round went.
And now look at Palisades. Look at the economy. Again, they can just retire. They can go on vacation. They can do whatever they want. Look 9K to Chromatic. Buy a full shield. Come on, Chrome. You got 9,000. Their credits, it's 9,000. You gotta buy. Get a full. What are you doing?
Hey, Eric. What? No, what did he buy?
Probably some util.
Yeah, just some util, I guess.
Didn't even bother for the full shield.
Yeah, that's actually... You know what? You could say that they're styling for real with that, but then we actually have heard professionals talk about how they forgot to buy shields. So they're, you know, that's also
that's good to know. You see, I'm not an idiot. I'm just a professional.
No, exactly. Anytime professional does something bad, I love just being like, thank goodness. Like we're all bad, I guess. But no, seriously, especially because they did buy utility so much in the last second. I do wonder if they kind of just forgot to buy for up until the last. But regardless, again, things seem to be going well enough for Palisades, but this is actually the strongest yet again for North Mech. Now, one person does get gunned down, unfortunately, so it's back to a 2v3 scenario, but Palisades has a very weak Omen, so they can be picked off pretty quickly. They are coming in as a group to still get that plant of the spike on the B site this time, but North Mech might have a chance. ZZZ has been top fragging, but they are the weak one, and they're being awfully aggressive. They are going to back away, which is probably going to end up going a little bit better, trying to get a little bit more of a backstab, perhaps predicted by the Sage. If it was, they did not get their gun out fast enough. And it looks like Medal, something like that, is actually still going to grab at least one more before being gunned down. Yeah, and that's actually quite unfortunate because ECZ was the weakened one, but that one shot on their leg or whatever it was only brought them on the 4 health.
Yep, that's why they call them Z's, right? Because you sleeping. You know, you come across Z's, guess what? Time to take a nap. You going to sleep. There you have it. And now, just like that, it is now 6-0 in the favor of the Palisades. And again, just love seeing the Palisades come back this season because, again, they did so well last season. And I love to see the changes that have been made or, you know, just how much they have improved. And not only that, but Chromatic on this ISO looking pretty good. You know, we were wondering, and we even got to talk to Flo Shizzle a little bit, saying how, you know, ISO really hasn't found their positioning in the meta yet, which I completely agree, but seeing players like Chromatic just goes to show that people are out there trying to make it happen.
Yeah, and really using the unique utility to some good effect.
Player standing.
Clownfish comes in with at least 1 kill from the dagger, but unfortunately can't grab more, and it is down to the Cypher, who is also taken out, so that is 7 there for Palisades. So also you can get a cheeky plant. Not that they really need the creds. Yeah, it just seems like Palisades going to be coming in as a stronger team in this particular best of 1. Not to get too far ahead, but here I go. I will say that we might be kind of just harkening back to yesterday in Reedsville, because I did mention it in kind of the pre-show, if you want to call it that Reedsville got the benefit of doing a doubleheader, apparently. They came back with a vengeance after losing their first best of 1, and then they dominated their second. That could be the situation for North Mech. They might lose this one, and it might not be the prettiest one either, and that does suck. But they'll certainly be warmed up, and perhaps they'll have a little bit better luck against their next opponent. But we do still have to wait for this one to actually finish, which gonna get a little of the gulag here, and Chromatic is quite good in the gulag.
And that's
Oh my god, I love it because you could see that they tried to run away. You know, they took the melee out. They tried to get away from Heaven. They tried to run, but you can't run from Chromatic. It's not happening. You're getting pulled into the kill contract.
That is funny. I mean, of course you should try to avoid it if you can. It just ends up looking a bit funny when they actually get sucked in. Such a familiar story. No Volt Battery, constantly one of the last players left and just not able to do anything. You don't expect very much in a 1v5, of course, but it just... sometimes that's totally the plan, right? The Sage Lurk, classic, I suppose. But, you know, it's definitely not working out here. Perhaps we'll see them be stacking to one side or another, just get everyone together, because right now the defensive play is not working out. They're down 8 rounds.
Yeah, and you know, the thing about it is that the Palisades have a composition with such aggressive utility, and North Mech, you know, they really don't. They don't have a lot of utility. They don't have that KJ there, you know, to kind of throw down anything that can halt the push that's coming from the Palisades. I mean, and they're going with double Sentinel, which is interesting. I haven't seen double Sentinel composition in like 3, maybe even 4 seasons. So, you know, just bringing that out to Ascent, I think is very risky, considering that, you know, this map is particularly fond of the double initiator composition and or even double duelist in some scenarios. But again, going with the double Sentinel, I just don't know if it was the right call here.
Maybe not, but it also seems like there might be just a bit of a mechanical diff going on. The majority, not all of them, the majority of some of these gun battles are going the way of Palisades. There's been a couple of rounds, this one included, where it's been, you know, 2v3 situation, absolutely winnable in the right circumstances for the 2. And well, hey, it's 3v3 now with the res, so there you go. Now it's totally even. But even still, this has happened before, gotten close to this before, and they were not able to do anything. In this particular round, it will be because, of course, that spike was already so far gone. They just get the res, keep the guy alive, and go into the next round. It's the wise play. Good to see it, even as they lose another round and they're getting closer to just being shut out. But yeah, it's can only do so much, I feel like, as they've been struggling against Palisades.
Like, I'm wondering if they just brought Sova back so they can save a Vandal. Like, was that the whole point?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, we need to carry this Vandal. I don't have any room in my inventory. We need Sova. Got to bring Sova back so we can pocket this Vandal. I mean, whatever gets you the dubs. If this is what's going to work, then by all means go for it. But now 9-0 in the favor of the Palisades, as we start off early with a trade. And honestly, that was a great shot, you know, coming from a Marshall there. I mean, you know it had to be a headshot.
Oh gosh, actually I was wondering if they're going to get away. They are tucked into the corner, which surprisingly We did not have the Hunter's Fury on. That's usually, I mean, maybe kind of like too smart for their own good, trying to, he knows that I know that he knows, but they didn't actually get the corner. So surprisingly enough, they end up winning all stacked up like they were. We do have that Sage look finally coming into, I think it's well, I was going to say the wanted effect there, right? When the attackers were still actually stacked in, but didn't quite work out. 2v2 situation, so again, totally winnable by the side of North Mech, but will they win the actual duels? Oh, and the Omen ult was available, so they're going to have to go ahead and get the retake going, so that's a little sucky, but again, absolutely doable. The ISO coming through mid.
One enemy remaining.
Might get a surprise, and it's exactly what happens. Unfortunately, Totito not expecting that. Dallas apparently not doing it so much either. They're down to 1 health.
Yeah, and there it goes. There's the one, and now it's no mo. That is going to be the 10th round win, going the way of the Palisades. And I'm glad you used the word sucky, because I think that's the only word that was appropriate.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta call an L and L a WW, sure, but also you can just say it's sucky.
Yeah.
You just gotta like, deflate yourself and you do, it's sucky. And it is, sometimes this happens to everyone, happens to the best of them even. At this particular junction, North Mech B just cannot get a handle on how to take down Palisades. 10-round lead. And that means they have so much to gamble with if they even had to. Which I don't think they will. I think their foundational play is working out fine.
And again, that entry they have down really to a T, especially with the ISO, because again, that's how they're using their entry. They're using the utility, to get the concussions, to get the flashes, and then not only that, but they're also throwing out that utility from the ISO, which makes their enemies vulnerable. So it makes them even that much easier to eliminate. So by, again, coordinating with the ISO, I think they've really started to find a niche where ISO is viable. And, if that continues on throughout the league, that remains to be seen, but it is definitely working out here against North Mech B.
Well, North Mech does have a man advantage at this point, but the spike is a problem and growing to be a bigger and bigger problem. As also some more shots coming in from Boathouse, this time from the attacking side. Chromatic finds 1, might find 2. No, has to reload very awkwardly. Fortunately, the teammate was there, but having to look the other direction. No Vault's battery finally coming in from the opposite side, getting rewarded. That was 2 kills for them in this round, I believe, and just in time to get the defuse as well. So North Mech B, they will get a 1 round, but it was, I think, a lot to begin with Clownfish getting so much done in the back of Boathouse. I was going to applaud them regardless of the victory of the team in that particular round, just because they got those 2 shots and then they were still able to dodge away and be a nuisance back there. So they definitely started the round off well. Unfortunately, North Mech were able to finish it too, but it's only 1 round. 9 more to go to even things up.
Yeah, well, there will be no shutout here today. North Mech B able to answer back and get their first win on the board as we get ready to head into round number 12. But I got to point out that Z's, the Sleepy Omen, has nearly gotten 2 kills every round.
Ooh, consistency is good. Unfortunately for North Mech, the Jets pop-up surprise didn't work out, but fortunately for them, the Gulag didn't go well this time. It's still overall victories for Palisades. More and more of North Mech going down to the Cypher, who actually just kind of, posed for the kill right there. Does get taken down. So very quickly back in the hands of Palisades.
Yep, and here we are now into the second half, going into round 13, and it's back to the Pistols. And again, Z's up there with a 22 elimination stat. My goodness, they have been flawless. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it. Yeah, they've been eliminated 3 times, but when you have 22 kills to your name, what are 3 deaths? What is that?
Yeah, it's not the highest KD I think we've seen in the last few days, but that is still pretty. It's gonna make you feel good. That's gonna make you feel very confident going into whatever you do next. And that will be, for now, defending. See if North Mech can get any better results on the attacking side as they all full stack over to the B site. Hits. It is scouted, and I would say appropriately kind of run away while you still can. Or just take the gun battles, and that's fine. Like, initially it looked like they were going to run away. Instead, they turn around. It was a 2v2 technically, but then, the rest of the team of North Mech not actually joining up maybe could have overwhelmed. end up just getting obliterated. Only one person taken down by Palisades.
Yeah, I'm watching Chromatic use the Sheriff and thinking to myself, what even am I doing? Why am I here? Why am I playing Valorant? You know, like there's no shot I'm ever gonna get that good. That was sick. I mean, the flicks were insane. Not only are they hitting the head clicks, like without flaw, but they're also hitting, you know, the double taps. So like they don't miss. Like I can never in a million years will I get that good.
That's why we watch it. You know, that's why I do all the esports that I do. It's like I watch it and I play it just to, you know, just get like a feel for it. But that's really it. I think I gotta guess what happened was North Mech B did kind of assume that they were actually running away. So they kind of maybe thought those battles would be a little easier for them. And they just also weren't expecting those headshots to actually happen either. So I can kind of empathize with their position. We have an aggressive defensive Palisades getting the victory on the side of the defense, but looking like attackers. That will be the 13-1 to close things up in 20-ish minutes. North Mech B gonna have some time, I believe, to think things through and think how they can do better in this upcoming best of one, which they will also be playing.
Yeah, at least they get a doubleheader. Again, we have already seen some real turnarounds happen. And again, you mentioned Reedsville yesterday. You know, they went down in their first game pretty side. Well, actually, you know, they did make a little bit of a comeback there towards the end, but still, it was a sour defeat. But then they were able to turn around in their second game and come away with a win. So will that be the story of North Mech B? Who knows? Only way to find out is to get into that next matchup. But you already know first, we're going to have to throw it to a break. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with more Valorant right here on VESL.
Welcome back, everyone, to VESL. We got ourselves a Valorant Regional Qualifier to continue on. We're still in the groups, and we did just get done with our second best of one. First best of one was an absolute banger. Second best of one, a little less so. But we are hoping that with this third best of one upcoming, that the repeat team, North Mac B, will be all types of warmed up. Have some type of momentum, I guess. They didn't get very much, to be honest, but something goes on and they do a bit better versus Providence High A is who they are now facing.
Nice. See, I'm expecting North Mech to come out and do a little bit of a better job. One, because now they should be decently warmed up. You know, after that first one, they should be nice and loose and ready to go into the next matchup. And also with the benefit that I don't necessarily remember too much about Providence. I remember the Palisades. So again, they must have made quite the impression. But for Providence, again, it's ringing a bell, but it's not very loud. So who knows? Maybe Providence isn't, you know, as daunting as the Palisades. So let's get ready to find out. But yes, I see your excitement and I know why. We're finally getting on a map that isn't Ascent. We're going to Haven.
Oh my god. Who bribed him? Who gave him cookies or something? Oh my gosh. It's Haven. It's just also a map that I know you've been talking about. You know, like this actually is pretty exciting now. We got the triple hit possibility. We also still have a new agent, maybe on both sides as well. If we get the lock-in from Clownfish, who did not play ISO last time, so I don't actually know if that was real, but it's definitely real for Panda's Dabby.
Yeah, yes it is. I had to look at the name real quick. Like I got like close up on my monitor.
Yeah, I said that with a
like,
lot of confidence.
Panda's Dabby. You're right. That is exactly who that is. So yeah, we are getting the ISO. Now this is going to be interesting, okay? Because every time I have seen ISO, it has only been on two-sided maps. And mostly it was on split. So not only was it on a two-sided map, but it was a more close quarter two-sided map. Also a little bit on Sunset, which arguably resembles split. That's what I've heard about Sunset. Most people, when they talk about Sunset, they say, oh, it's kind of like split. And so like it's understandable to see ISO there. But with that being said, I have yet to see ISO on a three-sided map. So I have no idea what to expect. This is going to be interesting.
Okie dokie then. Well, I mean, just kind of right off the bat, I guess, kind of familiar with North Mech's composition, feeling a little better for them. Frankly, now that they aren't facing Palisades, I'm also already feeling a lot better for them. And they also will be starting off on attack, which is where they got their round, isn't it? Yes,
I'll be honest.
Yeah, so
I'm just now realizing that Providence are going with a 5 duelist comp.
Oh my god, I thought I was gonna say, yeah, there's a lot of duelists, and I was still thinking in my brain like 3. And I just completely didn't oh my god, you're right. Every duelist possible.
I'm kind of nervous.
That is crazy.
I'm nervous for North Mech now because I think there's a reason they went with 5 duelists. I think they're cracked. They might be.
They might be. They might be. You know, it would be par for the course, wouldn't it? Because the way we found ourselves in a different map with Lotus, and we were really excited. And then what happened? It was the most one-sided best of one that we've had. And now I'm worried this is going to happen again. Although it's really not all that one-sided so far. We do have a 3v2 situation in favor of the duelists, but something could still happen for North Mech. They are being kind of hunted down, however, and yes, indeed, they were hunted down, coming from 2 different directions. So that was a cleanup on the side of Providence High, and yeah, I am back to being worried that there's a pattern here when we see a different map other than Ascent.
Yeah, now that I see the logo and I see the name Yeet Enjoyer, I do remember this team now. So yes, yeah? This is another one of those daunting teams.
Oh boy. Oh, poor North Mech then. They got back-to-back against some of the best teams, I presume.
Varsity. And you got to remember, that was Palisades A team, this is Providence A team, and this is North Mech B team. So it's a JV team that's literally taking on the varsities. Yeah,
actually, I didn't think about it in that sense, but you're right about that. That's a classic way to put things. Attempt to go down to through C long so far has been deterred. We are still on what looks like... Were they all just like sheriffs? I didn't even check for Providence, but it wouldn't surprise me if they're going to continue kind of just maybe showing off a little bit. Seems like 3 sheriffs anyway. Finally, one does go down. that might be it. So 2 go down. Only 1 left over, though. And poor Dallas, once again, just going to have the hunting down of all the North Mech B members, as Providence High are high on confidence. Seems like they think they've got this no matter what they do.
Yeah, I mean, they literally went into the last round with nothing but sheriffs, which honestly not that bad of an idea, because, you know, normally when you go into the bonus round after winning the first 2, you know, you can't buy up. But if you go into the previous round with all sheriffs, you should have some money left over, and it does look like that is the case. But I don't think it's going to matter because they're sticking with the sheriffs even still with 1 marshal.
It's not quite the Lotus map, because that was just that was just steamrolling, but I am getting the same kind of vibes. North Mech B are definitely saying more. Absolutely saying more. They're actually getting some stuff done here. Providence High A might have to eventually move away from a little bit of the overconfidence they're displaying here, as they are forced down to a 1v1. H-Dog getting 3, Tortito getting 3 as well. And now we have Sanji. So I'll call him, I guess, against Tortito. They don't know where each other are necessarily. And the spike has actually been picked up. So there's a lot of play here. It is the 3-hit map Haven. So with an Omen too. So they have plenty of time to actually move around. They try and predict the movement, and they actually predicted correctly. They were looking the right direction. They just didn't get the shots off.
My goodness, the sheriffs in the hands of Providence High is just so dangerous. I mean, they are literally just getting 1-taps with the sheriffs over and over and over again, getting head clicks. It's phenomenal to see the amount of skill that's coming from this team. And, you know, clearly they know the map, they know the angles, they know where to peek. And, you know, again, just I'm just thoroughly impressed by this team. I'm glad that, you know, they are still, you know, making a name for themselves from the last season into this one.
Good way to look at it. They have brought out 1 Odin. Got Sanji in an offensive position. Not too surprising. Something that Flash did try and deter there. It's going to be an 8-hit. And North Mech B are determined to try and get a point on the board themselves. Trying to come in here. The ISO wall makes things a little bit more awkward. But the Odin seems to be doing all the work regardless of any other factor. Mailbox still in play with that Odin. We might have the hunting down yet again, and I think that is exactly what is happening. The Phoenix ult is taken down, however, and then the Phoenix actually themselves, so another 1v1 situation, but 1v1 with a Raze ult suddenly gets a lot more difficult. If they are found out, they will die. They actually kind of were found out, but not exactly. So that ult didn't work out. They had to reload their Sheriff, but it still is victorious for the Sheriff player, H-Dog. That was probably the clumsiest way that they could finish that round, but they did.
That was the most Call of Duty play I've ever seen in Valorant. You know, they literally are just like jump packing, jump boosting all around, throw out a rocket launcher, right? And then still are avoiding damage by spam jumping. Like just bunny rabbiting their way to victory, and then still finding the elimination with the Sheriff. That was some Looney Tunes play coming from the Rays on Providence.
I even wonder if they they purposely misdirect their rocket launcher. They usually would have guaranteed him a scenario like that, but then they had to bring out the Sheriff, and then it was even more awkward. Well, we finally got his flawless, which maybe Providence is kind of expecting before round 6, but they finally, round 5, sorry, but they finally get it. Now we go into round 6, and we actually have some solid buys from Providence. They're not just totally sticking on the Sheriff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they are buying up, and honestly, it just seems like North Mech keeps trying to meet them in mid, and it's just not working. So it looks as though the spike is actually going to head to C main, but look who is there and waiting. It's the ISO. Could be dangerous. Let's see how it goes as we get round 6 underway.
And they're going to use the wall to make sure there's only one way for them to pop out, and then even then was still just changing guns. So there was an opportunity, but I guess not, and they actually end up getting the majority of the kills there. 4v2 situation. Mailbox still in play, looking down C long, and now just gunning down it. And that is going to be another point for Providence, who have stopped them at every attempt, to be fair. I guess their closest one was A, so maybe they'll hit that again.
Now you see that was just Tortito being foolish. I mean, who brings a gun to a bullfight?
Who dare? I thought you're supposed to bring a red cape. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Ole. Bad jokes aside, we are now heading into round number 7. Providence High on an absolute tear, showing off the amount of time they have spent in the firing range. Definitely showing off the amount of headshots they can get in a single game. And right now, Sanji, not quite on the mark, but the flank from Mailbox. My goodness, that was express shipping straight to the gulag.
Yeah, one of the reasons that Sanji was kind of playing around that particular angle too, to set up for that flank. And now again, the chase is on and things are not going well for North Mech. You know, honestly, like one best of one where like you can't get anything done is one thing, but to have back-to-back, that actually does just make me kind of sad, you know. And maybe they're not supposed to win against the teams that they're up against, and that's also fine. You just kind of wish you can still have fun, basically, and I don't know if they are.
I am.
And that's what makes me sad.
I'm having fun.
Well, there's, you know, we can have fun.
I think Providence is having fun. Honestly, I think North Mech is having fun too. I mean, it's still at some point. No, I still think they're having fun. I mean, because they know, you know, they're the JV team going up against the varsity, so you know I think they're gonna have a little fun with it too. But with that being said, you know, Providence already off to a pretty decent start. They managed to find the first limb, and now here they come. As it looks like this might be a free plant now for Providence.
Yeah, the first time I guess they're really going to get onto site and stick it, I suppose. But now they're going to be surrounded, and that might be too much to handle. North Mech B, they've gotten close. They've got down to 2v2s, 1v1s. They just haven't been able to stick it. And yet again, we're into that 1v1 situation, which Providence will win, and they will get the defuse no problem. So it still goes their way, even if it gets closer. It's still always going Providence's way. So I'm going to ask you a question here.
Yay.
Were you on a varsity team?
For what?
Anything.
Yes. Well, wait, no, I was not. Never mind.
Oh.
No, I wasn't. I was on the JV team for baseball, but that was it. I didn't go varsity. But I will tell you, I was on the varsity team at McDonald's, you know, because I stopped playing sports because I had to get a job.
Oh,
yeah.
So
sports had dues, fees, equipment, and cost money. So like I couldn't do both, right? So it was either, you know, I had to choose, you know, and I had to choose work because I needed money.
I'm sorry to hear that. Wish you could have considered on having some fun, but
it's character building.
Sure,
McDonald's is also a team, damn it.
Yeah, sure. Another Providence win coming in here, by the way, guys. So we're just kind of keeping tally on that. But you know, I was on varsity track and field. I threw discus and shot, and then hammer in college as well. But I wouldn't really say varsity meant a whole lot because we had such a small team, and our track and field team even actually couldn't field pole vaulters. Our school district decided that it wasn't allowed, so when we went to play other schools and other districts, we just were automatically down 10 points because we couldn't even contest for it. So I was a little bit salty about that. But I did actually still find some time to have a job, and I worked at a farm. And that was fun. A farm festival, fall festival kind of thing. Yeah.
That does sound fun. I was varsity grill cook. So like, you know, I was throwing down. Yeah, I was throwing down on the grill for sure. You know, definitely a starter.
You
without
know,
a doubt,
my favorite thing about any customer service job is being the varsity of dealing with upset older people than you, where you're the mature one. That's my favorite thing. Working in a grocery store, working as a cashier at the fall festival, having like a 40-year-old man get upset because our like card machine broke down and then blaming me, the 17-year-old. That was my favorite varsity sport.
Like you made the card machine, you know? That was another thing. I also worked at GameStop for a while too. That was actually one of my other jobs after I left Mickey D's. But yeah, no, one of the best things, like people would get upset about like the immature games apparently that their kids would buy, like they would buy for their kids, like they're buying the immature game for their kids, and they're getting mad at me. And not only that, but they're getting mad at me like I made the game. Like I'm not Rockstar. I did not make this. I'm what are you talking about?
That is amazing. I feel like I hear so many GameStop
Testing's only goes so
horror
far.
stories. I have a friend
Still
who
covers the rest.
tells me a lot. But, well, yeah, actually, while you were telling that story, we had an almost close round again, which, you know, I kind of assumed that it wasn't gonna happen. That was the closest by far. That was a 1v1 where Providence High's ISO was down to like 12 health, and North Mech B had the spike to play around as well. And Providence High still got the W. Still undefeated, 10-0. Aish.
Yeah, but here we go. Back into the gulag. What a bot gets pulled in, and they will get sent right back out. It is now 5-2 in the favor of Providence. Make that one, as Medalis will be knifed by Mailbox. Express shipping once again straight to the Shadow Realm.
Last round in the half.
All right, use everything you got for North Mac B. That's going to be a couple of ultimates, and I can certainly see them actually making something happen. I mean, you know what they could do is they could kind of start just going loosey-goosey as well. Just like, you know what, YOLO, let's see if this works. They could like try and enter onto, I don't know about C necessarily, just because getting down that C long is kind of difficult, but use their breach shell to get down there and then like Omen TP to A and get the spike. Like, they could just try some wacky stuff, but it's H-Dog who's wacky first, I guess, and jumps in to everyone and does die appropriately, I would say. At least gets a trade.
I mean, it seemed wacky, but that's actually a viable strat. You know, going in with the raise with a judge, that's viable. It's not too, I mean, it is wacky. It is 100% wacky, but I've also seen that pulled in like legitimate competition, and it's worked, especially on Split. Split is just like Judge Row. That's why I like to refer to it as.
Unfortunately, North Mech B hasn't really been able to use any of the ultimates they had. Nope, not even going to use one. And that is going to be the swap and a match points as well.
Switching sides.
Yep, here we go. We're back to the pistols. Now a better time than any for North Mech to begin the comeback. We have pistols on both sides. No one has the advantage when it comes to, you know, the arsenal, the weaponry. But it is going to be a surrender. I mean, honestly, once you get into one round, why not play it? But you know, I guess it's none of my business. None of my business.
Yeah. Usually you try and at least like YOLO all 5 stack to a site or something on the attack and just have some fun. But they tap out instead, and that's fine as well. I think unfortunately, like I said, like I hope they had fun, but going back to back in those types of games can just be a little bit demoralizing towards the end. So you just want to cut it and then maybe play some ladder with your friends after instead or something like that. Because that wasn't so much Valorant for them as it was for the other team. So Providence High will take the win here in this best of one. And that's our third best of one done and dusted. We are now far ahead of schedule, which, you know,
I
think
feel
it's
like
the first
we're
time we've
right
had it
on
happen.
schedule, actually. I feel like we're for the first, because every single night, you know, we've finished beyond schedule, right? So I feel like we're actually on time rather than, you know, ahead. You know, don't get me wrong, if like the next match goes as the last two have, then yeah, no, we'll definitely be early. But as for right now, you know, we're good.
Yeah,
We're
I
right
get what
there.
you're putting down. There's a player in StarCraft where we say if he's ahead, you're dead. If he's even with you, you're behind. And if he's behind, you're even, because the guy is just so freaking good. And I feel like that's what we're getting at with the timing here. It's like if we're ahead of schedule, we're actually on schedule because something's gonna go awry. But let's see. Actually, you know what? Come back after this this segment and this break, guys, to see if we are still on schedule or if something has happened. But first, we're gonna go ahead and send it to the couch to break down the last two best of ones, I guess, as much as they can.
I am joined with Coach Precise.
Hello.
That was a rough match.
Yeah, it's just complete domination on the side of Providence there.
There was a few close matches, or
it was a couple rounds where they probably should have lost, and things didn't line up how they should have.
It's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
That Phoenix 1v1.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hate to see it.
ISO shield. I love that. That's a fair and balanced ability.
Fair and balanced.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
But I think Providence they're looking as far as ranks go. They're looking to be one of the best teams.
Yeah, Providence looks pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, last season I think they were somewhere around 6th.
Yeah, that's like
something
like middle of
around
the pack.
there.
Yeah.
They look nice.
They're looking good.
So, it's we're gonna have a lot of competition this year.
Yeah.
Even some of the new teams in the league, like there is a lot of competition out there.
Some teams did surprise me.
We saw Wake Young Men's
yeah,
and Women's
yeah.
Academy yesterday,
That
and
was-
I know they looked good. Cyber Academy looked good.
Mhm.
Like there's just so much talent right now in North Carolina,
Yeah.
and then you have like Captain Ahsoka and Salami Grub. We're talking about the JV teams, the Team Bs. You know, there's gonna be improvement throughout.
Yeah, I'm about to say
throughout
it's
the
a little,
next
it's a
season.
little rough for them because a lot of new teams, a lot of new teams are coming to the league at the
A
point.
lot of new teams and a lot of new players. Even
Yeah.
some of the schools that we've had in the league. A lot more players joining the league, and North Carolina's really coming together. And I think we're right about 3,000 students in the program now. So
That's good.
a lot more players, a lot more competition around North Carolina.
Yeah, we'll see if Butler can hold on to it.
That
We'll see.
Butler's had a lot of change. Butler was our, I'm not gonna say state, but champion of our last season, and
Will they go back to back?
dude, they have lost. I believe they lost 2 players. They lost Rams. He graduated, and then one other player. I don't remember off the top of my head. Both went to college. Rams, I believe, is playing at school in Virginia. I don't remember.
West Virginia, I believe you told me. West Virginia.
Is he at West Virginia?
I believe so.
So yeah, players joining the league, graduating, going off to college, and playing in college. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
You actually play at UNCC.
I do. That's me.
What advice would you give to any students that are looking to play esports in college?
As far as this league goes, just like try to take it as seriously as you can because this is really good experience that I didn't have going to collegiate. I know. If you make it far enough, you get the LAN experience. It's a really good opportunity for the players.
Yeah, and they're gonna have 2 LAN events in the matter of two or 3 weeks to be able to compete. You have regionals on the 20th and 21st of January,
Oh, that is
and
coming up
then
pretty-
3rd and 4th of February
that's
we have
pretty soon.
states, which, I'm excited for states. I can't say it enough. Like I cannot wait for states. It's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah.
We have so much stuff in store for all of you guys.
I'm looking forward to it.
You're going to be able to meet everybody here at the VESL staff. At least most of the VESL staff. We do have some that won't be able to show up.
Some who work from the shadows.
But we will be having our regionals in Charlotte, Wilmington, and Greensboro. One at UNCG. So they're amazing arena that they have there. A lot of colleges are starting to get arenas.
Soon. That's all. I'll say.
UNCC,
Soon.
things in plan. And NC State, I
Yes,
believe.
yes, State
A
is
lot of
on
North Carolina schools are starting to get into esports, and money's going in. And
And State's
Nice
also getting
arenas.
the director from Northwood.
Whew.
So their program should be up there soon.
good things coming for esports,
Yeah.
especially at the collegiate level and
this
definitely
is-
at the high school level.
This is exactly why everybody should be on the grind right now because scholarships are coming.
Yeah. And that is true. Are we set for our next match of the night? So we are not.
Absolutely not.
Oh, unfortunate.
Never on
So,
schedule.
so tell us about your route going into the collegiate level.
I really found the team by chance. Like I was really just searching around like clubs of UNCC, and I really hadn't taken like Valorant completely seriously at that point because I was coming to keyboard and mouse for like my first year, so ranked was just kind of like a fun thing for me. That I hit Diamond, I was like, all right, cool. That was before Ascendant was a thing. Then I hit Immortal, I was like, all right, maybe I should join the team. So I found the team through like I think a Reddit post. I formed the initial team 2 there. Well, I was practice squad first, then we had enough for a team 2. Grinded that out for like a semester or 2. Ended up making main team, and I've been on main team for about like a year and a half now, and I ended up becoming manager now, so I'm manager and captain main team.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
I'm just now getting word that Western Guildford is actually right now on their quad stream match and actually just started.
Oh.
So
so we are behind on schedule.
Bye.
we are
Unfortunate.
We are
going to be having to
behind
wait
schedule.
probably 45 minutes, roughly,
Ooh.
depending on how
I
that game
know.
goes.
I know on B stream we were behind a little bit. We had a 1v1 between me and Plazy, which did not go my way. I got ran by a Plat 1.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're washed.
What rank
I'm
are
washed.
you?
You are very washed.
Send it too.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm washed.
I wouldn't take that if I were you.
I'm
Like,
washed.
You got to run it back.
I'm gonna have to run it back at some point. Maybe it states. I heard a certain
mean-
idea about staff members running 1v1s
Oh, y'all
at
are done.
states.
You could
Oh, yeah,
also
we
run
don't.
it right now, since we are waiting.
I'm thinking we get a little bit of our 2 observers
two-
to 1v1. Maybe Precise and Waifu, who is our other observer. Shout out to Waifu behind
From
the
the back.
scenes, making sure you guys get the best
Shadows.
views of the matches. Maybe we get a 1v1 going between you two. I know Waifu's a little washed. He's more of an Overwatch player.
Hey, he might have me. I
Hey.
don't have my setup here.
Hey,
It's
that's
entirely
true.
possible.
So let's figure that out, and we'll be right back. We're going to send it to a quick break when we figure out what we're going to have going on. What's up?
Oops,
How
hey,
did you
welcome back,
get here?
guys. I traveled halfway across the country really quickly, and with all my stuff as well. And I got here. It's amazing. So we're gonna cast a 1v1 apparently.
Yeah, I'm
Fill some
interested to
time.
see this
Excellent.
one. See if a washed up Overwatch player can take on a Valorant player now.
All right. So who's the Overwatch player?
I believe it is.
Deathmatch. Warm up.
VESL Admin 5 is precise.
Uh-oh, now they're changing last minute
Wow.
change settings.
Taking it seriously.
They're like,
We gotta pick
I cannot play on this.
Got it?
Fight.
Keep up.
Does that mean they're the Valorant player, or does that mean the Overwatch player?
That would be, I believe that's the Valorant player. That is definitely the Valorant player.
We are currently watching Waifu.
No way.
Yep.
0.35 kind of makes sense then. They're okay. So both of them didn't have settings set up. That makes sense.
Apparently.
How do they have
So this
skins on
isn't-
these accounts?
This is a 9-minute, just like kill over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
I did the same thing on String B,
Stay down.
and
Uh-huh.
it was rough. It was rough.
Didn't go so well for you, huh?
No, I got
Well, it's going.
I
all right
got
for
destroyed.
Waifu. It's a whole different beast. That's what you say, though. It's like you're not bad at Valorant. It's just like it's a 1v1's a whole different beast.
And jumping right into it. Yeah.
I've never played this mode. I'm gonna be honest with you. What is?
What?
Oh, I
it's
guess
just
single kill
deathmatch.
is just like.
It's just deathmatch.
Yeah.
So
I was looking at the bar, and I was like, what does that do? And I guess it just keeps track if you're really really cool and you do multiple in a row.
actually, I've never seen that bar. I think that's new. Oh, so the bar actually, I think it tracks when you get an ace. Because it'll
Okay.
do double kill right after a single kill,
Right.
and then triple, quad, and then ace. And then it continues on to like 6th, 7th. I've only ever done that once, you know?
Right.
How
hello?
much-
Someone joined
How much
the party?
Valorant do you play?
Not that much, honestly. Like I like watching and casting way more than I ever liked playing multiplayer games. So, like I'm literally one of like the StarCraft commentators, and I probably play StarCraft now, like 3 hours a week. So with Valorant, I probably play something similar, honestly, which means I don't play very many matches.
I used to
But I
play a
like
lot.
watching the games, so that's what's important for me.
Yeah, I enjoy watching it more than playing now. I switched straight to CSGO, and haven't played Valorant since until today.
Oh, yeah, I heard you talking with Flo Shizzle, and yeah, it's pretty interesting that Counter Strike 2. I think it got a lot of. It still gets a lot of critiques, I guess, but I think it did what maybe they were hoping, which is that it got a lot of new people into playing Counter Strike, such as yourself, who was like, "Well, it's a new game, and I guess they'll all try it out at this point." But a lot of feedback, let's say, has been given from the Counter Strike Go 1 people that I don't know. It makes me hesitant to play it, even though I also
The graphics
really
look
enjoy
really
watching
good, but there's a
Counter-Strike.
lot of things that are still broken with it that they
Mhm.
didn't fix. So we might actually be doing a CS:GO 2 one-off tournament next season.
Ooh, that'd be cool. I mean, I certainly think there's going to be a lot of interest in it. It's actually kind of surprising to hear what is chosen, I guess, as far as games for the high school leagues and the collegiate leagues. And, you know, obviously they don't always reflect what the most popular esports are, because I would say that CS is probably... It's always a debate between them and League of Legends, right? So,
Yeah, and the whole thing, the only reason we probably don't have a league is, one, it seemed like North Carolina isn't super popular with league. I actually asked in the Discord the other day for the kids to teach me how to play League, and that didn't go so well. They were all like, no, do anything with your life than that. So they were not a fan of League.
Gotcha. I've enjoyed it. You know, I still prefer it to Dota, for instance. Dota
I
is just
played
so...
League once, and I was like, there's too much information for me to learn.
There is a lot.
I was like, I can't keep up with all the abilities. There's like 50 characters or something.
Oh no, you're like me, because I'll play it every once in a while, but probably the most that I played it was probably back in like 2012 or something, right? Like really old. So I started playing it again like last year, and I said something along those lines, like there must be over 50 characters, and then someone was like, "There's over like 150. Where have you been?" I'm like,
oh no,
my
knife
God.
fight.
That's even worse. Yeah, it's a candy cane fight.
Oh. Candy cane prevails. But yeah, like League, we might do it as like a one-off tournament. We're also going to do R6 as a one-off tournament at some point. That's a little sneak peek for you guys next season. And then there's going to be a few other one-off tournaments, but the main season games are probably going to be Valorant, Rocket League. We'll do Overwatch to change out Valorant every other season. And then we'll do a sports game and then a fighting game.
Oh, cool. Yeah. What fighting game are you thinking of?
I guess I can go ahead and announce it. It's going to end up being Brawlhalla, so we will be doing Brawlhalla instead of Smash this upcoming season. And then we'll end up doing a Smash one-off tournament during the season for the Smash players that don't want to get in on Brawlhalla.
Yeah. No, I didn't mean to make you reveal anything. I thought you should.
Oh
still
no.
debating,
This is gonna be. Was gonna be released this upcoming week, so it's not a big deal. We made this decision this week, and we're super hyped for the next season, and it should be fun. We have a lot of things that are in the work for all the kids, and we have our content teams coming together, and we just released Roboverse, which is awesome because it's a fully made game for STEM, and it teaches. I don't know did you see our video on
I did.
The AI
Floor is Lava?
Yeah, it is. It's cool.
It is really cool.
So we'll have that actually at regionals and our state event for all the students to be able to play, and obviously they can play it at home, but we'll probably do 1v1s at states for it.
That's awesome. I did before I decided to go full esports a decade ago, I was part of the training program for this local thing, I guess. Maybe it's a chain actually, but they're using Minecraft to teach middle schoolers how to program. And first I heard that, and it was just a job just to get some experience teaching kids, because I was gonna go teach in Korea. That ended up happening. But when I learned what it actually was, and I had to of course learn it myself and how it works, I was like, this is bonkers, man. Minecraft is teaching them how to freaking program and network and stuff.
Yeah, it's super cool with
crazy.
all of what esports brings to the table, especially with some of the other games. There's several other games out there that you can learn coding from, and especially the game design and stuff that we are going to end up bringing into play with some of the STEM teams. It's cool what the students are able to create, and it brings opportunity
that's
and
also
experience for all of them.
That's also what's I think really the coolest thing, is that it's seen as I mean, I think initially it's seen kind of as a joke. You know, people don't understand it, and that's fine. But then they get educated, and then it's kind of seen as like, oh, well, this is for like the real nerds. This is for the real like book nerds, right? Like, is it still it's programming even if it's in a video game? Which GG, by the way, waifu won by
Not
7
half
points.
bad.
The
but
washed
then
Overwatch player won. That is wild.
yeah. But then you figure out that it's also artistic, is what I was gonna say. So it's actually pretty cool. In multiple ways. But yes, we do
And
have
to all the
waifu as
students
our
that are
victor.
interested in the STEM, try it out. You might enjoy it. If you aren't interested, try it for a few weeks and see if you like it. If you don't, not a big deal. But there's a lot that will come out of STEM for you guys. There's scholarships and different job opportunities out of high school that you guys can get with doing the STEM program. So
I mean, that's exactly what you want. You want to build up something that's actually for the future, but then if you can do it while video gaming and playing esports as well, and like these leagues and
Yeah.
doing this stuff, it's pretty. It's not just really great for your future, but actually be able to have fun while you do it. I don't know. Whenever I got told about stuff that I had to prepare for in the future, it was always really boring. You know, make good essays, think up a sob story for your college application,
we're also going to
whatever
have
it was.
casting opportunities for the students.
Hey, that is nice. As I was saying in the pre-show, I just think it's actually such a great avenue for people who aren't confident with their voice or even with their opinions or whatever. Once you get them talking about something they're actually interested in, and video games is obviously big. And
Since we're still
it's so much
waiting on the
easier.
match, and you've been in casting for a while now, for any students that want to get into casting, what would be your advice for them?
Decide on what video game you really like and then just talk about it. Some video games are easier than others to get replays, but just literally going over VODs and just chatting about it to yourself, getting used to that, because I forget that you have to get used to that. That is the first step to finding your voice, literally. And then as you get more interested, and if you get more interested, you can find the voice, I guess, that you want to use, right? So not like the meek little voice where you don't really use your lungs or your stomach all that much, like I used to do when I was really young, but rather where you have strong opinions and strong ideas and you want to shout them at the top of your lungs, but in a really professional way, and you get to do it. And then public speaking gets so much easier after you get comfortable with that, because it also teaches you to get comfortable with uncomfortability, because you're literally just talking to yourself often if you're not streaming, or if you're streaming to 0 viewers, and you just
Been there.
realize that you get past the silliness so fast and it just becomes a thing. So you can just get past so many other things that feel silly initially, but it's like, I'll just eventually get used to it. So I basically suggest, if you want to get into casting, absolutely do it in any way, shape, or form. And if you're not that interested in getting into commentary, you're like, it's not really my thing, still try it, which is kind of what you were saying, like the STEM stuff that you're doing. Just give it a go for a couple of tries, couple of weeks, whatever it is, and then really think about what it can actually, I guess, help you with. And even if you want to be a player or a coach, obviously just going over VODs is going to help you regardless.
So I do think we're going to cut it to a quick break. Hopefully we're going to have our match here soon. So we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. It's been a little while, but we are getting into our last best of one of the day. It's going to be Green Hope A versus Western Guildford. We're waiting for a team to finish up their previous match, which kind of makes sense, actually, because, well, the previous match for us on the A stream was quite fast indeed. So, yeah, last match of the day. Quick recap. We had Ardrey Kell lose out to West Charlotte. Then we had North Mech lose, unfortunately, twice in a row to Palisades and Providence High. And now for the final match of the day, Green Hope versus Western Guildford. And then tomorrow we start off the meat and potatoes, the playoffs. So that'll be
Yay.
pretty exciting.
I do love me some meat and potatoes, Cotton. But no, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this last match turns out, just because we did get to see a little bit of Green Hope before, and I do remember it was the C team because it was the Green Hope Fruit Punch, right? Green Hope High C.
High C.
Yeah, so we got to see their C team. Now we get a chance to look at their A team.
That's actually, yeah, I kind of forgot about that. The high C, but you're right. Now we're getting into the A team. That was C. There's a B somewhere out there, presumably. And now we get to see the A. So, yeah, it seems like they might just be favored, I believe. So, if I remember correctly, we were just talking about it. But, yeah, we actually are still waiting to get into it.
And guess what? It's not an Ascent from what I heard.
Hey!
I heard Ascent was banned. That's what I heard. So I think we're going to Haven. We are!
Yes! Well, hopefully this doesn't continue the trend, which is that if we have a map that's not Ascent, it is bound to be one-sided.
So, at least it's not. I'd still rather it over Ascent, to be honest. Not that I don't like.
Okay.
First of all, I really do love Ascent, and it's down bad. You know, like I really do, because people don't like Ascent for various reasons. I do. It's just that we've been playing it every day, every match here, and you can only have so many red M&Ms before you want a green one.
Are M&Ms different flavors?
No, but that's the point.
Oh.
You want, but that's the point.
Oh.
You want variety. Like it still tastes the same, but you can only have so many red ones before you want a different color. You know, you want
I
variety.
guess so.
It's the need of variety.
So. I was gonna say it's not like Starburst or like the pink are the best, right?
Yeah, I mean, who eats the yellow Starburst? No, is that yellow Laffy Taffy I'm thinking of?
No, it's yellow Laffy Taffy because it's freaking banana flavored.
Yeah, no, that's terrible.
Banana flavoring is the worst. But did you hear that? Apparently, it's because it tastes like bananas used to.
It doesn't even taste like bananas to me. Like I've had bananas, they don't taste like that.
No, but apparently bananas tasted different like 80 years ago, and that's why banana flavoring doesn't taste why we should expect it to.
Man, we're probably just like pumping stuff full of sugar these days. Like the bananas.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah, the bananas of these days probably just filled with like glucose and sucrose and just gross.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, just a lot of gross.
There's also Brussels sprouts. They've
What's wrong with
literally been designed to taste less bitter and better.
No, they're going after the vegetables too. Like, is anything going to be healthy anymore? Am I doomed to be overweight forever? I can't even eat vegetables without just gratuitous amounts of corn syrup.
Thankfully, they're not pumping it with corn syrup. That'd be so funny, though. Like every Brussels sprout you buy in the vegetable aisle, just is like
it's like a fruit gusher.
Syrup.
It's like you bite it.
Oh no! Yeah, no. That's that would be gross, and that is maybe where we're heading as America. We are all heading to the Wall-E universe, so like, get there faster, right?
Okay, well, so we're getting ready to load into Haven, right? There's 4 players on Western Guildford and going up a fully stacked Green Hope. So again, this is something going on here. Not only that, but every time I see Western Guildford, I want to call them the Gulag, like the Western Gulag. But again, this is actually one of the longer load-in times I think I've seen in Valorant. This is taking a minute.
I usually say it's the potato computer, but I like what producer has said. Someone's using a 1998 hard drive.
Windows 97. It was someone's idea.
You're actually still booting up the computer. Don't. Oh, finally in.
You got to be really old to know what that sound is. If you don't know what that sound is, your life has been good.
Right? We're just so old.
Get off the phone!
Oh my gosh. I think I'm fortunate in that I wasn't really like super into like computers or cell phones or anything like that when I was younger. Because I think I guess I have a boomer perspective on things. We're like, there might be too much of that going on nowadays.
Oh,
but
facts.
regardless,
I don't
did
even
have
think it's a boomer perspective. I think it's a health concern.
I think it's like actually like studied and there's science behind it. Yeah, that's very true. But still, I was gonna say that I had one time. Remember talking to my friend furiously over AIM about like a boy that she liked or whatever.
Oh no, not
And then my
AIM.
mom was on the phone, so I had to be like, "Mom, get up the phone. We're having a moment."
Yep, speaking of having a moment, I think Western Guildford is having a moment right now. As you can see, there's only one player remaining. It is Fresh Silver, and they're being hunted down with nothing but the old Peacemaker, and they're able to find 2 back-to-back, looking for a third, and they run out of bullets. Still putting up a good fight, but eventually will fall, and that's going to be round 1 going to Green Hope.
Yes, not terribly surprising. It goes to the people with all 5 characters in the game. That's always a good thing. But unlike the 3v5 we had yesterday, I actually think 4v5 would be exceptionally winnable if the team was evenly balanced and we actually had those ult orbs change things up as far as, what we get in ladder, but we do not, as I learned yesterday. So 2 things are missing: ult orbs, and apparently these teams aren't so balanced. We have quite a few very good e-gamers on the side of Green Hope, I believe. So, that's always going to hurt as well.
Are there different types of gamers? Like, what exactly is an e-gamer?
Oh, an e-gamer is when they're like really good at a game. It's kind of like calling them a try-hard, except it's just like they're e-gaming, man.
Got you. Okay, so like e-sport gamers, just like the pros,
Well, I think what it comes back to is that when they were still trying to figure out what the heck to call everything in this realm of stuff that we do nowadays, I'm talking like back in like the 1990s or early 2000s, they're like, imagine like the 2001 like business suit news anchor. These e-gamers are trying to become professionals, and that's, I think, where
Got you. So before there was esports, there was e-gamers.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got you. Yeah, that tracks. That actually makes sense. My grandparents just call it the machine. Like any type of gaming console, computer, doesn't matter. It's just the machine. You still playing on the machine? Be like, yes,
not the Nintendo?
Yeah, no, not the Nintendo.
Oh.
Dude, my grandparents are even older than that, but even before Nintendo. It's not the Nintendo. It's just, they would even call the Nintendo the machine. That's what it is. Just the machine.
That's so funny. I thought my parents were savvy enough. Not that they were like ever into video gaming, but they kind of, I don't know. I mean, they're like a network engineer and a programmer. I don't know why I expected it. I was so tickled when just like 3 years ago, I was playing on the PlayStation and they were like, "You playing on the Nintendo?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, he didn't just do that thing." I sounded exactly like a teenager, but I was 28, so.
I would have been like, "Yeah, ma, I'm playing the Nintendo."
Yeah. But then sometimes you get it right, because the Nintendo Switch really, I think, brought that back into like commonplace, like meta, like watching kids walk around with a computer, a video gamer, and it's usually a Switch. So they actually are correct if they're like, "You're on the Nintendo again."
Yeah, now finally, parents and grandparents alike can start getting their assumptions correctly when they see a Switch. I mean, back in my day, it was the Game Boy. That's what we had before the Switch. It was the Game Boy, and
Heck yeah, I still bring that out every now and again.
Oh yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I broke my thumb playing baseball, and so like the game, like I couldn't play like my regular console game, like the PlayStation, because I needed 2 hands, but I was able to play my Game Boy Color, and I was just playing nonstop Donkey Kong Country.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember playing Game Gear and playing like the Looney Tunes game on it, which was actually really fun. But we are so dating ourselves. You know what I love, actually, as we witness yet another very close round, but still won by the team with 5. I love seeing people bring stuff on planes that are like old video game consoles, handhelds. Like someone who does bring a Game Boy or brings like a PS Vita or something. I actually really like that.
No, well, the thing, bro, no, like the coolest thing ever is when you get on a plane and this Giga Chad or whatever, just big IQ, big brain person pulls out a manga.
Oh, one manga?
Yeah, just pulls
Just
out
a volume?
Just like but it's like that thick manga. You know what I mean? Like the whole.
Oh, like a Dragon Ball Z like serial.
Yeah,
you know, where
like
there's,
where it has
a
like the
bunch of
whole.
chapters in it. Gotcha.
Yeah, where it has like the whole series just in one manga.
It's like 5 pounds.
Yeah, and he's got
just,
like the.
lug it.
He's got like the bent corner of the page to keep his spot or to keep their spot in where they left off.
I have
The
not seen
whole
that.
collection. Well, exactly. It's a rarity, but you know that person. You know they're succeeding in life.
I love that actually. I have some funny
no.
airplane stories, of course, but yeah, we're actually getting down perhaps another member as someone is AFK on the side of the 4.
Were they?
So.
Because they glanced over at the neon when they showed up and spawned.
Maybe they literally stopped being AFK at that exact moment because now they're moving.
Okay, I guess. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
did their controller die? Pun. Because
Controller?
because keyboard,
No.
mouse, PC game, controller died. You know, it's funny.
I don't know.
What is this person doing?
Well, I think now they're gonna just play into it. If this was not their plan from the get-go, this actually might be a bit of a cheese plan. They pretend to be AFK, yeah, and then they say it again, and then they go chasing, and they're waiting.
Oh, okay. So then they set up and
Yeah.
try. And, oh, got you.
But what's embarrassing is when it doesn't work and they still lose the round, you know?
All right, so this is supposed to be like a bait and switch gotcha type moment, but it didn't work out
Yeah.
clearly. Oh no.
Not so much. I think Lemon just only got taken down right there because they were kind of trolling. To be honest, I saw them running around, but regardless, that did not work. It is a 6-0.
Yep, that it is. And again, it's unfortunate. One, because again, you're going up against the varsity of Green Hope, but not only that, you're also down a player. Still not the worst scenario. I mean, they could be down 3, or they could be down 2 players, as we have seen occur.
Yeah. I do think the bigger problem is perhaps they were already anticipating losing this round, this best of 1, just because the players on Green Hope A are very good. Apparently, the lowest rank is a diamond, so that's pretty solid. Yesterday we had a platinum who actually ended up just having like one of the 30 bombs, I believe. So just to give a insight into what kind of the average can be and just how good that makes Green Hope A.
Yeah, you know what, they look good right now, but I want to know how good they look against the Palisades varsity team. You know, that's how we're gonna know. Once we get these letters aligned, you know, you got A taking on A, B taking on B, C on C. I hope it doesn't go any further than C. You know, but, that's when you know how good they are.
Yes, that's true.
You think you're good? I want to see you go 1v1. Like, no, seriously, go to the gulag and take your 1v1 and see if you can like just hold your own against the man, the myth, the legend that we had on earlier today. That's what I want to see. Then we'll know how good you really are.
We might get to see that. It is all leading up to a bracket, so it's very possible that Palisades and Green Hope A, both A's, will actually meet each other. They really are some of the best. Western at Guilford has not had any close rounds since, I guess they had one very, very close round, but then not much beyond that, even with the little cheesy tactic over in defender spawn, or attacker spawn rather. Yeah, just can't get much.
Not much doing now. 8-0 in favor of Green Hope. And again, this is their varsity squad. There's a reason that this is the varsity squad, because they're good. You know, they're cracked. They know what they're doing. They got the experience, and of course, they have refined it. They have honed it through what I assume countless hours of practice.
Stay safe.
So they have definitely earned their position here for sure here at VESL.
Yeah, seems to be the case. Hopefully not countless. They should be doing some homework every now and again. Maybe, if they want.
Come on, I'm not even doing that. Like, come on.
Spike down A.
I mean, I do. Trust me, I do the homework. Okay, you do, and I'm sure we all respectively do the homework. But at the same time, you know, I can finish homework in like an hour. You know, that I can knock that out. Valorant, I gotta grind at least 5.
Oof. Yeah, I was gonna say actually, I don't know how many times I ended up going to school early just to get my homework done before class by like 30 minutes to an hour. You know?
Don't need muscle memory to do fractions, all right?
That's actually a very good point. Oh, but yeah, Valorant? Nah, I don't even know how much I actually have to do to get good at that. I know how much I had to do for StarCraft to even get decent at that one, but for Valorant, totally new game. It's all about the zoomer flick wrist as well. I already admit, I preemptively admit that I'm too old for this, and I just get to watch.
When you go
The
for
young-
the flick wrist and the arthritis acts up.
Exactly. My RSI comes back, and I'm like, oh darn it. No, but these kids though, they can have all the fun and be all the zoomers that they want, and it's fun to watch. Although maybe not this particular one.
I mean, I'm enjoying the conversation though. I gotta admit, like, even though, like, you know, clearly it's a one-sided endeavor because unfortunately Western Guildford, they're down a player, but at least, you know, they're trying to make the most of it.
They are. I mean, we've got some strategies, we've got some, you know, cheesy stuff, and they are trying to tackle the actual gun battles head on. I would say when they have some good guns, but. You know, I do think overall it's a bit loosey-goosey from both sides. Just, you know, that is the nature of being in this imbalanced scenario, as you do need 5 people to truly win a competitive Valorant match.
I find myself in the minority a lot when it comes to, like, gun skins, because I am actually not a fan of the Blub gun. Like, this skin that we're seeing right here, you know, like the Aquatic Vandal or whatever, it's called Neptune Bundle, whatever it's a part of, whatever. I call it the Blub gun, but I'm just not a fan of it, and it seems to be one of the favorites, actually.
I think it looks pretty cool. I mean, I always thought it was just an aquarium gun.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of it. Not my favorite. What is your favorite skin, by the way?
That's actually a very good question, because I come and go from Valorant. I actually took, like, pretty much a huge break from Valorant for a while, but so I've missed so many skin advertisements. I don't even know how many there are, but oh, I really like the pixel guns. That actually came out when I wasn't doing Valorant, and even then I was like, I should just log in and pay them $60. Give me guns.
Okay, so the pixel guns, which one were they?
The video game ones? Or
Okay,
like the,
I was about to say, that was not
finisher?
$60. I know what you're talking about. And I was getting ready to say, I think the best skin bundle in Valorant was the Radiant Entertainment System, the RES. That's what it was called. The The Radiant Entertainment System bundle, when it was like all like the retro 80s, like, you know, 8-bit video games.
Exactly.
But that bundle was $110.
See, I never actually got it in checked. I wasn't doing it.
Yeah, just the melee weapon alone was $50.
That's so funny.
But
oh
it
my
is the
God.
best skin bundle in Valorant history, though, without a doubt.
Oh, I thought it was so cool. I had so much fun with that. But to be honest, like, there's actually been a few times. Like, that was the only one that almost got me back in after, like, not playing for so long. But there's been a few times I've seen the Riot, you know, video or Twitter account or whatever talk about something, and I'd be like, that is such a cool freaking idea. Like, as soon as I saw the first finisher for their VCT, the first time it was the really cool song, I was like, gosh darn it, Riot's so good at this stuff. Dang it.
Switching sides. Match point.
Well, here we go. 12-0 currently in the favor of Green Hope. Now switching sides back to the Pistols, and it is match point for Green Hope. But quickly, before the match ends, I just want to say my favorite gun skin, and again, because I'm such a horror fan, specifically 80s horror, my favorite gun skin bundle was the Xenomorph bundle, because it is literally, you know, it's from Aliens, Colonial Marines.
I didn't even see that. See, this is what I'm talking about.
It's not even Colonial Marines, because not to be confused, that is a video game, but Aliens had Colonial Marines in the movie.
Oh my gosh.
So if you watch the movie Aliens, like, they have, like, you know, the heartbeat sensor and, you know, everything else to track
I see it.
xenomorphs.
Yeah, I'm literally looking at a video right now. That's
And
so fun.
The Xeno Hunter bundle is literally just the weapons encoded in the same aspect of the movie, and it's so funny because I even pointed this out. People was like, how come the heartbeat sensor on the Phantom don't work and on these Xenomorph bundles? I said, you silly goose, because they're to track Xenomorphs. Are you a Xenomorph? No.
Got him. Oh, that's going to be it with the knife, by the way. That is the last best of one of today. We do have Green Hope A defeating Western Guildford 13-0. So truly, did we see new maps? I think that is actually there's a questionable aspect to that for sure today.
Regardless, that has been our 4 matches of the day, and we've gotten to see some doozies. We've also reluctantly gotten to see some steamrolls, to politely call them. But it is what it is, and this is the process, and one must trust the process. And as a matter of fact, we were talking earlier about what these teams can learn, going up against some of these really really good teams, some of these varsity teams like we just saw, and essentially it's basically just like getting jumped in. Now you know what to expect. Welcome on in.
Yeah. Trial by fire.
Yeah, welcome to VESL.
Yep. And that's going to be it. So goodbye, actually. We are going to be back tomorrow and Friday, and I do believe the games are going to be getting actually just a lot closer. I think that's kind of bound to be the case when we get into the playoffs and have kind of filtered through a lot of the teams that have gone. I'm not even sure what they would have gone. What is the group, like 06 or something? I don't know how many matches they had to play. I'm not the one keeping track of that. But the point is, we have filtered through all of the teams. The certain scoreline has moved on, certain scoreline has not, and we'll be talking more about that when it comes to tomorrow's broadcast. So please join us back here, same time, same place, for more VESL Valorant regional qualifier. We'll be back here with me and Atsoka, of course. Thank you to everyone who's watched and all the production behind the scenes as well. And we hope you all have a good night. Bye-bye.